Chapter 634. In a park in Hong Kong, a blonde woman threw a ball of toilet paper on the ground. Damn it! How could this be? That Wuxia man must be playing with me. The blonde woman cursed as she walked back. There's nothing I can't take away. Those paintings of Picasso must belong to me. After being visited by the antique thief once, Qin Haodong became cautious. After that, he and Nailan Wushuang never left the room. Even their meals were sent to the room. As time went by, everything was calm. Although several groups of thieves had visited, they were stopped by Zhang Tiniu and the others. They were directly caught and handed over to the police. Qin Haodong was sure that the thief who stole the toilet paper was not among those who were caught. He believed that he would come back. In the deep night, everything was in silence. Only Zhang Tiniu and the other two people were still vigilantly looking around. Qin Haodong and Nailan Wushuang went back to the bedroom to sleep. In the living room, a hole suddenly appeared on the wall silently. The hole was not too big, equivalent to the size of an adult's fist. However, a black shadow slowly squeezed in from it. The black shadow fell on the floor of the living room without any sound. When she slowly stood up, it was a person. Judging from her figure, she was a very plump woman. Qin Haodong really didn't know how she got in through such a small hole. The woman was dressed in black, and her face was covered by a black mask. She was like a nimble black cat, walking without any signs of anger. She looked around vigilantly, and after confirming that it was safe, she slowly walked towards the paintings of Picasso. Holding the paintings in her hand, she didn't hurry to leave. Instead, she carefully checked them one by one. After confirming that there were no mistakes, she rolled them into a scroll and held them in her arms. When the woman was about to leave, the light in the living room suddenly turned on and a light voice sounded. "What's wrong? The toilet paper in the morning has been used up so quickly. Are you on your period?" The woman was shocked. She turned around and saw Qin Haodong in pajamas and the sexy Nailan Wushuang standing lazily at the door of the bedroom, looking at her with a playful face. Then, she found that the painting in her arms had turned into a pile of toilet paper again. The woman did not have the time to speak. She turned around and was about to escape, but she was shocked to find that the room had changed greatly. She was surrounded by walls. Not only had the small hole she had dug disappeared, but the original window had also disappeared. In other words, she was completely locked in here. Impossible, this must be fake, it's a trick. As one of the top thieves in the world, she had countless experiences in stealing. Of course, the woman did not believe that the window could disappear into thin air. It must have been a trick. In reality, the window was still there. Thinking of this, she fiercely slammed into the direction of the window according to the direction she observed when she came in. According to her plan, she would definitely be able to break open the window and escape quickly. Qin Haodong still had a playful smile on his face. He didn't stop them and just watched them quietly. The woman crashed into it like a gust of wind. With a loud bang and a scream, she fell to the ground. It was indeed a wall. Qin Haodong smiled and said, "What are you doing? Although your yoga is good and it can be said that you have reached the basic realm, it is still not enough for you to break through the wall." The illusion he had set up was not that simple. While creating the illusion, it also changed people's sense of direction. That was to say, the woman just hit the real wall instead of the window. The woman was confused. She got up from the ground. Before she could see clearly what was in front of her, she felt that her face had become clear and her mask had been pulled off by Qin Haodong. After seeing the woman's appearance, Qin Haodong was also slightly stunned. He was surprised that the thief was a woman, and he did not expect that she was so beautiful. In terms of appearance, she was no less beautiful than Alice, the president of the World Medical Association. "You! How dare you tear off my mask? You rogue!" Not only could the woman speak Wuxia language, but she could also use the word rogue very accurately. Qin Haodong was speechless. This woman came to his house to steal things, but she even accused him of being a rogue. He glanced at the woman and said, "You said I was a rogue. Then what are you doing? You came to my house and asked me to be a rogue?" The woman's expression froze, and then she said in a tough tone, "There are good things in your house. I'm a thief, so it's normal for me to steal them. Damn it, this is the first time I've seen someone like you. You're not only unreasonable but also strong." Qin Haodong stared at the woman and said, "According to your logic, you're beautiful and I'm a normal man, so it's normal for me to be a rogue and take advantage of you." The woman's face tightened. "How dare you?" Qin Haodong laughed and said, "Your stealing skills are really brilliant. You came to my place without anyone knowing. But because of this, even if I kill you, no one will know, let alone molest you. Why don't you tell me that I dare not do it?" "You." The woman suddenly saw Nalan Wushuang next to her. "Your wife is here, so you don't dare." "It's not that I don't dare, but I don't want to. You're too ugly. I'm not interested in you." Qin Haodong said to Nalan Wushuang, "Honey, I'll leave this woman to you. Don't let her run away." "Okay." Nalan Wushuang agreed and walked toward the woman. The woman's eyes flashed with sly pride. Suddenly, she rushed toward Nalan Wushuang, grabbed her neck with one arm, and pulled out a shiny dagger with the other. She had already seen that the young man in front of her could not be provoked at all. She could only escape from here by taking this woman as a hostage. But she had never expected that Nalan Wushuang was Qin Haodong's partner. They were both masters at the 6th level of the Supreme Power Realm. How could a little thief like her afford to provoke them? Before she could figure out what was going on, she suddenly fell to the ground. The dagger also flew out, and then Nalan Wushuang stepped on it fiercely. She wanted to perform her favorite yoga, but found that there was an invisible force coming from Nalan Wushuang's foot, which locked her body tightly. There was no room for resistance at all. Qin Haodong squatted down, looked at her playfully and said, "Little girl, you still want to play hostage-taking? You're too weak." The woman had never been treated like this since she was a child. She cried out in annoyance, "Let me go now, or I won't let you go. You're quite arrogant." Qin Haodong said, "Don't forget that you're just a thief now, and a stupid one at that. You have no right to be proud at all." The woman cried angrily, "I'm not a stupid thief. I'm Shadowless Thief." Shadowless Thief? It sounds quite domineering, but it's just a name. You've stolen toilet paper from me twice, and you still have the nerve to call yourself a thief? The woman cried, "It was an accident. Let me go if you have the ability. We can start over." Qin Haodong said, "I don't have time to play with you. If you want me to let you go, I can let you go as long as you give me 1 billion yuan as ransom." The woman cried angrily, 1 billion yuan? Are you going to rob me? Aren't you called Shadowless Thief? It seems that you've stolen a lot of good things over the years. 1 billion yuan should not be a big number for you. Are you willing to give up your money? Speaking of this, Qin Haodong's face turned cold. "I'll only give you 10 seconds to think about it. If you don't pay, I'll destroy your yoga skills and make you a useless person." "How dare you?" Although she sounded tough, there was still a flash of panic in the woman's eyes. 10. 9. 8. 7. Qin Haodong began the countdown. The woman hurriedly cried, "I have no money, I really have no money." "How is that possible? Your stealing skills are really good. You can avoid our guards outside, so you can be regarded as a high-level thief. How can you have no money? I think you're willing to give up your money." 3. 2. 1. Qin Haodong's face turned cold when he counted to the end. He originally thought that the thief was a woman and wanted to give her a chance, but he didn't expect that she was a miser. He shouted to Nalan Wushuang, "Do it. Destroy her dantian and break her limbs. Before Nalan Wushuang could do anything, the woman completely panicked and hurriedly cried, "You can't do this. I tell you, my father is Mateus, the god of darkness. If you dare to touch a finger of mine, none of you will live." Mateus, the god of darkness? Haven't you heard of him? Qin Haodong said coldly, "I'll give you one last chance. If you can't pay 1 billion yuan, I'll destroy your cultivation now." The woman cried, "My father is the god of darkness, the controller of the deep web. If you touch me, you can't escape even if you hide to the ends of the earth." Wait a minute. Hearing the two words, deep web, Qin Haodong's expression changed. He had never heard of the god of darkness, but the deep web was well known. Saber and Hu Shaoxian had both told him about the deep web. The deep web not only controlled countless killers, but also had a powerful information network. It was said that there was nothing in the world that they couldn't find. He had been trying to find the controller behind the deep web for a long time, but there had been no news. He did not expect that the woman would mention the deep web. He raised his hand to seal more than a dozen acupoints of the woman, lifted her from the ground, threw her on the sofa, and directly asked with mind manipulating, "What's your name? Is your father really the controller of the deep web?" The woman said, "Yes, my name is Donnie Randall. My father is Mateus, and the whole deep web is under his control. But in 3 days, when I'm 20 years old, he will hand over the entire deep web to me." Qin Haodong asked, "Since you're Mateus's daughter and the heir of the deep web, why do you want to be a thief?" Donnie Randall said, "My ambition since I was a child was to kill the rich and help the poor. My father also promised me that I could do whatever I wanted before I was 20 years old. I wanted to be the best antique thief. Because the people who owned antiques were all rich, I stole their treasures and sold them. All the money I got was donated to the poor." Chapter 635. Qin Haodong and Nalan Wushuang looked at each other and saw the astonishment in each other's eyes. They didn't expect that they would catch a future master of the deep web. Moreover, they didn't expect that there were people who robbed the rich to help the poor in today's society. This kind of thing that could only be seen in TV dramas was happening in front of them now. After confirming that the information was correct, Qin Haodong removed the mind manipulating. He thought for a moment and said to Donnie Randall, "No matter who you are, you should pay the price for stealing from me. But for the sake of your chivalry, I won't ask for the ransom of 1 billion yuan, and I won't destroy your cultivation." Donnie Randall looked happy and breathed a sigh of relief. She had clearly felt that this young man was definitely not joking with her. But at this moment, Qin Haodong continued, "But you have to promise me 2 things. First, your deep web can't do anything that will harm my interests. Second, as long as I ask for help, your deep web must help me." The hidden power behind the deep web was so great that it was impossible for him not to be tempted. As long as the deep web was willing to help him, he would almost have a powerful intelligence system, even more powerful than the intelligence system of some countries. "Well, I promise you." Donnie Randall agreed without hesitation. In her mind, she agreed to keep her cultivation first. It was up to her whether she wanted to do it or not. As long as she escaped today, this young Wuxia man would not be able to catch her again. "That's good." Qin Haodong seemed to see through her thoughts, and a strange smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He took a piece of yellow paper from the table and cut it into the shape of a paper man quickly. Then he took a pen next to him and drew a few strange symbols on the paper. Then he grabbed Donnie Randall's right hand, pierced her index finger with a fruit knife, and squeezed a drop of blood onto the paper man. Donnie Randall's acupoints were sealed, so she couldn't move at all. She cried in horror, "What are you going to do? Don't be nervous. I'm just making a promise to you." As he spoke, the drop of blood fell on the paper man and disappeared strangely. "Done." Qin Haodong raised his hand and unsealed Donnie Randall's acupoints. Then he raised the little paper man in his hand and said, "This is called the paper puppet technique in Huaxia. I can control your life and death with this paper man. However, you don't have to be nervous. As long as you keep your promise, I won't do anything to you. Donnie Randall's face was full of astonishment. Obviously, she didn't quite understand what Qin Haodong said and didn't believe him. Looks like I'll have to demonstrate it to you on the spot. Qin Haodong raised his hand and slapped the paper man's butt. Ah! Donnie Randall suddenly let out a scream. She felt as if someone had slapped her butt, and a burning sensation that she had never felt before filled her brain. She turned around to make sure that there was no one else in the room. You don't need to look for it. It's me. As if to verify the authenticity of his words, Qin Haodong slapped the paper man's butt again. Donnie Randall really believed him now. Qin Haodong slapped the paper man as if he had slapped her. That was to say, if he killed the paper man now, he would kill himself. A look of fear flashed through her eyes. What kind of magic is this? It's so scary. What do you think? Do you believe me now? But don't worry. As long as you keep your promise, I'll keep my promise and won't hurt you. This paper man won't even exist. Donnie Randall suddenly came to her senses and said angrily, "Why did you slap my butt? Don't you know that a girl's butt can't be touched?" Qin Haodong smiled at her and did not speak. Instead, he turned his eyes to the paper man's chest in his hand. Ah! Donnie Randall seemed to realize something. She cried nervously, "Please, don't touch it." If Qin Haodong touched the paper man's chest, she would really want to die. Don't worry. From now on, as long as you keep your promise, I won't take this paper man out. Qin Haodong said as he put the paper man into his pocket. Then, he took out a black pill and gave it to Donnie Randall. This is an elixir I refined. It'll be of great benefit to you if you take it. It's my compensation for slapping your butt and also a reward for you for helping the poor. Could this be poison? Donnie Randall said warily. If I wanted to kill you, I could just move my fingers. Why would I waste the elixir? Qin Haodong said, it's called the Big Strengthening Elixir. The medicinal materials are very expensive. It's definitely a good thing. Donnie Randall thought for a moment and realized that the young man in front of her had no need to poison her. So, she took the pill and threw it into her mouth. Soon, she felt that all the blood in her body was boiling. Her strength was getting stronger and stronger. Her yoga, which had not been improved for a long time, suddenly broke through the threshold and reached a new level. The Wuxia man did not lie to her. The big strengthening elixir was indeed a good thing. How is it? Does it feel good? Qin Haodong said as he threw a small jade bottle to her. There are 3 big strengthening elixirs in it. They're for you. He knew that if he wanted to control people's hearts, he had to use both carrot and stick. If he blindly suppressed them, they would have a rebellious mentality and stab him sooner or later. Moreover, although this girl was a thief, she had always robbed the rich to help the poor and did not keep much money for herself. He admired her very much, so he gave her 4 big strengthening elixirs in a row. Thank you. Donnie Randall realized the value of these elixirs. They were definitely good stuff. Bailey had always been worried that her cultivation was not enough to master the power of the deep web. With these elixirs, her cultivation would be greatly improved and her father would look up to her. Qin Haodong said, to show my sincerity, can you help me find out information about a person? No problem. At this time, Donnie Randall had been completely convinced by Qin Haodong's means. She took out a palm-sized microcomputer from her pocket and said, tell me, who do you want to find out? There is no one on this earth that our deep web can't find. As long as you tell me his name, I promise I'll find out what he ate in the morning. Qin Zongheng. Qin Haodong said, help me find out where this person is now. Wait a minute. It'll be done soon. After saying that, Donnie Randall typed Qin Zongheng's name on the microcomputer. But soon she was shocked because there was no information on the screen. Have you found it? Qin Haodong asked nervously. It seemed that he still cared a lot about his father whom he had never met. This person's information disappeared 21 years ago and there was no information about him after that. Donnie Randall looked embarrassed. She had boasted just now, but she did not expect that she could not find any information about this person. On the contrary, Qin Haodong was very calm. If it was so easy to find his father's information, Chu Xianyue would not have been looking for him for so many years. He asked, generally speaking, under what circumstances can the deep web not find any information? Donnie Randall said, as long as there is a person, the deep web can find him, unless he is hiding in the deep mountains or swamps or is dead. In this case, we can't find him. Qin Haodong nodded. He had an intuition that Qin Zongheng was not dead, so he was living in seclusion in a corner. He raised his hand to remove the illusion in the room and said, "Okay, you can go now." Donnie Randall did not leave directly. She said, "Now many people know that you have Picasso's paintings. In addition to me, Mr. and Mrs. Smith and Cracker have also come to Hong Kong. Their purpose is to get your paintings. Although I admire your ability, they are also very powerful. You'd better be careful." Qin Haodong smiled and said, "Aren't you the shadowless thief? Could it be that their thieving skills are better than yours?" Donnie Randall said, "There is a ranking among us antique thieves. I'm only ranked third. The first one is Cracker, and the second one is Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I'm not as good as them." Qin Haodong said, "Thank you for reminding me, but it's not so easy to steal my things. Okay, I'm leaving. Goodbye." "No, I'll never see you again." After saying that, Donnie Randall jumped out of the window and disappeared. "I didn't expect to have such a big harvest tonight." Qin Haodong was in a very good mood. With the help of the deep web, his strength had improved imperceptibly. But after he finished speaking, his expression suddenly changed, because the stack of Picasso's paintings on the table had disappeared. It had only been 2 or 3 minutes since the illusion was removed, but all the paintings had disappeared. It could be seen that the thief's stealing skills were terrible. It was definitely not Donnie Randall who did it. It must be Cracker or Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Nayland Wushuang said, "What should we do? It's not so easy to steal my paintings. These paintings are marked with divine sense. He can't run away." After saying that, he took Nayland Wushuang's hand and flew out of the window like 2 big birds, chasing in the direction of the divine sense mark. After chasing for about 400 or 500 meters, 2 black figures appeared in their sight. From their backs, it could be seen that they were a man and a woman. According to Donnie Randall, they should be Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Mr. and Mrs. Smith did not expect that Qin Haodong could catch up with them so quickly, so they were not too anxious and ran at a moderate pace. At this moment, 2 figures suddenly appeared in front of them, blocking their way. Qin Haodong looked at them and said, "Mr. and Mrs. Smith, right? You're good at stealing. You're the first person who can steal a painting under my nose." Chapter 636. Mr. and Mrs. Smith were white men in their 40s. The man was named Smith, and the woman was named Kasha. They were famous in the world of antique thieves. Although everyone ranked them second, they were not convinced. This was because, like the heaven-pilfering divine legs, they had yet to have a record of failure. With the same record, there was no reason to rank them behind the heaven-pilfering divine legs. It had to be said that Mr. and Mrs. Smith were very experienced in stealing cultural relics. In fact, they had arrived at the Li family's villa a long time ago, but they were not in a hurry to take action. They had been waiting outside for an opportunity. In the end, they took advantage of Qin Haodong's negligence and took away all the paintings. Originally, they were rejoicing over their achievements. They didn't expect Qin Haodong to catch up so quickly. The 2 of them looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. They didn't know where the flaw was. At this time, Mr. Smith's expression changed and he said to Qin Haodong, "Did you do something to these paintings? When they took action just now, they were absolutely invisible. The reason why they were caught up so quickly must be that the other party had left a mark on the paintings." Qin Haodong smiled and said, "The clothes you are wearing are good. Is it a high-tech product?" Although he was talking to Donnie Randall just now, his spirit had been covering the whole room. Generally speaking, there was no reason for the paintings to be stolen. Mr. and Mrs. Smith could take away the paintings without alerting him, so they must have something special. Now he found that if he closed his eyes, his spirit could not feel the existence of the two people. The problem was their clothes. He was right. Although the Smiths were two very good thieves before, they were far from their current level. 90% of the credit for their success was the two clothes they were wearing. This was the latest high-tech product of Area 51 of M country. After wearing it, it could have a strong defense and stealth function. It could shield people from radar detection. However, because of the high cost, it could not be popularized at all. Only 2 experimental products were made. By chance, the Smiths learned this secret and stole the 2 experimental products. Since then, they had become more and more famous and eventually became the top antique thieves. Mr. Smith said, "You are indeed very powerful, but you can't stop us. Hurry up and get out of the way, so as not to hurt our friendship." Qin Haodong said, "Put down my paintings and pay a ransom of 1 billion yuan each. Then I can let you go." Although Kasia was in her 40s, she was still a charming young woman. A bright smile appeared on her face and she said, "Wuxia man, after you get out of the way, we promise not to steal your things again." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "If you don't pay the ransom of 2 billion yuan, there will be no future." Mr. Smith frowned and said, "So there is no negotiation?" Suddenly, he and Kasia moved together. They had a tacit understanding. Smith rushed to Qin Haodong and Kasia rushed to Naylan Wuxuang. Smith threw a punch at Qin Haodong's face. He was not a warrior, but he had practiced Western fighting skills. However, the gloves on his hands had a very long history. It was also a high-tech product. After wearing it, it would increase a person's attack power by 100 times. In the past, they had also met opponents, but all of their bones had been shattered by a single punch from him. In the face of his attack, Qin Haodong sneered and also punched. With a muffled bang, the 2 fists collided. Smith was sent flying backwards like a fly that had been swatted away. His gloves were indeed powerful, but unfortunately, his cultivation was too weak to be compared with Qin Haodong's. Moreover, he was not a warrior. His bones could not bear such a huge force. When the 2 fists collided, his arm was almost shattered. Before Smith landed on the ground, he felt his neck tighten. A large hand had already gripped his neck. Qin Haodong said with a smile, "You are really well dressed to be able to take my punch." After that, he reached out and pulled off both of Smith's gloves, followed by his clothes. In the blink of an eye, the antique thief, who ranked second in the world, became a big white sheep, with only underwear left on his body. On the other side, while the 2 women were fighting, Kasia raised her hand. With a click, a spring sounded and a sleeve dart quickly shot toward Naylan Wuxuang's chest. The speed of this sleeve dart was indeed fast enough. If it had been before, it could have posed a little threat to Naylan Wuxuang, but now Naylan Wuxuang was already a level 6 Supreme Power Master. This level of attack was not much different from a child's game. She reached out and held the sleeve dart in her palm. Kasia was shocked, but she did not stop at all. She raised her leg and shot another arrow. Naylan Wuxuang shook her wrist and the arrow in her hand shot out. The 2 arrows collided with each other and fell to the ground with a clatter. Kasia raised her hand and tore off the headband on her head. Then, she used a lion's head shake and countless silver needles shot out from her hair. There were too many silver needles. There were hundreds of them. Naylan Wuxuang could not dodge them at all. Seeing that these silver needles had finally hit Nalan Wushuang's body, Kasha breathed a sigh of relief. Then, her smile froze. Although the silver needles had hit her, Nalan Wushuang's protective genuine qi was too strong. This level of attack could not shake it at all. All the silver needles fell to the ground. Now it's my turn. Nalan Wushuang did not have the slightest bit of tenderness for the fairer sex. She lifted her leg and kicked Kasha to the ground. Then, she did the same and quickly took off her coat. Devil, let me go. You can't do this. Although Kasha resisted desperately, her strength could not do anything in front of Nalan Wushuang. In the end, there was only a set of underwear left, which was thrown together with Smith. Let us go and return this set of clothes to me. I can give you 2 billion yuan as ransom. Seeing that he had become a captive, Smith put down his pride and began to talk to Qin Haodong. Your set of clothes is not bad. I'll keep it. Of course, he would not easily return a good thing that could avoid the detection of the spirit. Qin Haodong smiled at him and said, and you have no chance to pay the money now. Feeling the killing intent in Qin Haodong's smile, Smith suddenly became nervous and asked, what do you mean? The atmosphere was very friendly just now, so we could still negotiate, but now you have offended us, so we don't want money. We only want your lives. After Qin Haodong finished speaking, the smile on his face disappeared, and a golden sword appeared in his palm. Smith's face was suddenly full of horror. He did not think that this Wuxia man was joking with him. With Qin Haodong's skills, as long as he attacked, he would not have a chance to beg for mercy. He quickly said, please don't. Let us go. We can give you the 12 zodiac bronze statues. Hearing the words, 12 zodiac bronze statues, Qin Haodong's mind moved and he took back the Xian Yuan sword that was about to be released. Your reaction is very fast. If you were a little slower, my sword would have cut your throat. Qin Haodong squatted down and looked at Smith and said, but if you lie to me, you will die more miserably. I dare not. I dare not lie to you. Smith nodded hurriedly. Although he was a well-known thief, he was not a fierce bandit, and he was not so tough. In the face of Qin Haodong's killing intent, he had already become soft. How did you get the bronze head? Smith said, 5 years ago, my wife and I sneaked into the treasure house of the rich man Gompos and saw the ox head among the 12 bronze heads. We knew it was a good thing. The last bronze head had just been sold for tens of millions of yuan, so we stole it. Qin Haodong asked, why haven't you sold it after so many years? Smith said, we wanted to sell it, but later we found that Gompo's power was too great. He had contacted all the major auction houses in the world. As long as we dared to auction there, we would definitely be caught by them. But our identities can't be exposed. We can't sell it without the auction house, so it has always been in our treasure house and has never been taken out. Hearing this, Qin Haodong had already believed most of it. He said, where is your treasure house? How long will it take to get it? Smith said, it's on a small island in Southeast Asia. As long as you let us go, I'll send you the ox head very soon. Let you go? Will you come back after I let you go? Qin Haodong said, well, I'll let you go and keep your wife here. I'll give you 1 day. You must come back with the ox head. Okay. Smith agreed without hesitation. But Qin Haodong still felt a little worried. What if this guy ran away and left his wife alone? He reached out and took out a black pill and stuffed it into Smith's mouth. Before Smith could figure out what was going on, he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his stomach. The pain seemed to come from the bone marrow and went straight to his soul, making him twitch all over. It was unbearable. Qin Haodong reached out and patted him on the chest, and the pain immediately disappeared. In just a few seconds, Smith was in so much pain that he was sweating all over his body, as if he had taken a bath. Qin Haodong said, this is the 3 days intestines breaking powder that I refined. If you don't come back within 24 hours, it will take effect once. One time, it will last for 3 minutes. After 3 times, you will die. I'll come back. I'll definitely come back. Smith's face was full of fear. This kind of pain to the bone marrow, not to mention 3 minutes, just 3 seconds had already taken half of his life. After a few breaths, he said to Qin Haodong pitifully, "Mr. Qin, can you let me put on that dress? You know, without it, it will be very inconvenient for me to do many things. It will delay the efficiency of my treasure taking." Chapter 637. Qin Haodong said, "I can return the clothes to you for the time being, but the sculpted heads can only be exchanged for your lives. If you want these 2 clothes, you must exchange them with treasures that satisfy me." "Okay, Mr. Qin, I'll make sure you're satisfied," Smith said as he put on the clothes again. He knew that this high-tech product was the foundation of their lives. They were willing to exchange for it even if they had to go bankrupt. With these clothes, they could continue to steal in the future. If they didn't have them, they would be reduced to second-rate thieves. Maybe they would be beaten to death one day. Qin Haodong said, "Remember, the things you give me don't have to be expensive. Forget about antiques and ancient paintings. I want things that can attract my interest." Smith nodded and said, "Got it, Mr. Qin. I'm leaving now." The taste of the 3 days' intestines shattering powder still made him feel a lingering fear. Now he didn't dare to waste any time. After saying goodbye, he immediately disappeared into the night. Naylan Wushuang also put the clothes on Kasia again, and then carried her back to the Li's villa. Qin Haodong sealed Kasia's acupoints and then threw her on the sofa. The 2 went back to the bedroom to sleep. Smith was very efficient. The next day, near dusk, he returned to the Li's villa and sneaked into Qin Haodong's room with a big bag in his hand. Qin Haodong glanced at the bag and felt the fluctuation of the seal of the sculpted heads of the 12 zodiacs. He couldn't help but feel happy. This guy not only had the sculpted heads of the 12 zodiacs, but also the real ones. Good efficiency. He praised Smith. Smith said, "Mr. Qin, is it time to give me the antidote?" He had been racing against time because he was afraid that the 3 days' intestines shattering powder would act up again. Qin Haodong raised his hand and threw a small red pill into his hand. Smith quickly threw it into his mouth and swallowed it. "Let me see what good things you've brought." He was really curious. In addition to the sculpted heads of the 12 zodiacs, there was another strange energy fluctuation in the bag in Smith's hand. "Okay, Mr. Qin." After taking the antidote, Smith felt much more relaxed. He opened the bag and took out a bronze head of the 12 zodiac animals. It was the head of a bull. Then, he took out a white book from the bag. After this book was taken out, a strong aura of light filled the entire room. Qin Haodong's eyes lit up. Although he hadn't figured out what it was definitely something good. He reached out to take the book in his hand and carefully observed it, but found that he could not open it no matter what. Smith said, "Mr. Qin, this book can't be opened." "We've already tried." Qin Haodong asked, "Where are you from?" Smith said, "It was also stolen from a rich man's treasure house, but this book is very strange. It doesn't seem to be an antique at all, so we have been throwing it in the vault and not selling it." Then, he asked nervously, "Mr. Qin, are you satisfied with this thing? Can we change our clothes back?" "Yes." Qin Haodong agreed. Although he didn't understand what was going on with this book, there was definitely an extremely powerful force sealed in it. If he could find the way to use it, it should not lose to the devil vanquishing wand, or even be a little higher than it. After that, he unlocked Kasia's acupoints and said, "You can go now. Remember not to steal from me again, unless you can take out another sculpted head of the 12 zodiac animals in exchange for your life." Smith said embarrassedly, "Mr. Qin, we will never do that again. We are just thieves, not desperados." After that, he took Kasia out of the window and left the Li's villa. After they left, Qin Haodong was no longer in the mood to study the book. He put it into the storage ring, then opened the seal of the 12 zodiac animal heads and took out the upper-level spirit stone from it. He set up a defensive formation in the room. There were too many thieves who had been harassing him these days, and there was also a cracker hiding in the dark, so he had to be careful when breaking through. Everything was ready. Nalan Wushuang guarded beside him. He held the upper-level spirit stone in his palm and once again began to break through to the late stage of gold core. The eternal greenwood skill ran, and the spiritual qi emitted by the upper-level spirit stone was quickly sucked into Qin Haodong's body like a vacuum cleaner, constantly enriching and strengthening his genuine qi. As time went by, the upper-level spirit stone became smaller and smaller, and eventually turned into a pile of fine powder. Nalan Wushuang stared at Qin Haodong. Could it be that he failed again this time? 2 upper-level spirit stones couldn't help him break through. At this moment, Qin Haodong's momentum suddenly rose, and the golden elixir in his dantian shone brightly, like a crystal-clear pearl, and its volume was more than twice as large as before. The late stage of gold core. After consuming 2 upper-level spirit stones, he finally broke through the bottleneck of the middle stage of gold core and entered the late stage of gold core. Feeling the strength in his body, Qin Haodong's face was full of joy. Now as long as he didn't encounter a saint, he was absolutely invincible in the world of supreme power. Haodong, did you succeed? Nalan Wushuang asked in surprise. Yes, let's go celebrate. Qin Haodong picked up Nalan Wushuang by her waist and rushed into the bedroom again. What they didn't know was that at this time on the major forums of the underground world, the news of the failure of Shadowless Thief and Mr. and Mrs. Smith had been posted. Although everyone didn't know the specific process, they were all amazed by the defensive ability of this Wuxia man, which was comparable to the security of the Louvre. Even these 2 strong men had failed. At this time, Cracker posted a post on the forum, saying that within 24 hours, he would get Picasso's manuscript in the hands of the Wuxia man, proving that he was the king of antique thieves. Everyone was looking forward to the news of Cracker, wondering if he could steal Picasso's painting from the hands of the Wuxia man. As soon as they arrived at the airport, a large passenger plane slowly landed. However, there were not many people alighting from the plane. In the lead were 3 old Caucasian men, followed by their servants and bodyguards. This was a private chartered plane, not an ordinary passenger plane. After getting off the plane, Sir Owen was already waiting there. When he saw the 3 old men, he immediately went up and hugged each of them. Old friends, welcome. It turned out that these 3 men were all his friends. They were Cantona, Gompos and Joseph, famous collectors in Europe. After saying goodbye to Sir Owen, the 3 of them got into his limousine and left the airport together. After getting in the car, Cantona asked, Sir Owen, does that Wuxia man really have 30 Picasso's manuscripts? Is this true or is God kidding us? Sir Owen said, old friend, this is really not a joke. Mr. Qin is very great. He does have many Picasso's manuscripts. I was lucky enough to exchange for 10 of them. They are now in my treasure room. Gompos said, Sir, Picasso's paintings have been very rare these years. How could there be so many of them at once? The Wuxia man has always been cunning. Are you sure about those paintings? Will there be any problems? Hearing what he said, the smile on Sir Owen's face disappeared. He said seriously, Gompos, are you questioning my ability to identify antiques? Those paintings have been identified by Gerard. Don't you believe Gerard's level? Gompos smiled embarrassedly and said, Sir, don't be angry. I just think it's a little strange that there are so many paintings of Picasso at once. Sir Owen was obviously still angry. He continued, I can assure you that these paintings are absolutely real. Not only have they been identified by Gerard, but they have also successfully passed the carbon-14 inspection. As collectors, we can't ask how Mr. Qin got them. We just need to know that these paintings are real. It's a pity that Mr. Qin only agreed to exchange the bronze heads of the 12 zodiac animals, and the 2 in my hands have been used up. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had a chance at all. I would have put them in the treasure room myself. Joseph said, Sir, good things should be collected by everyone. There are so many paintings of Picasso. You should share some with us. Sir Owen said, Have you found the bronze heads of the 12 zodiac animals? I don't think Mr. Qin will exchange with you without them. Joseph said, Yes, I happen to have one in my treasure room. It hasn't been touched for many years. Fortunately, I didn't sell it. Otherwise, I would have missed this good opportunity. Cantona said, This time, each of us brought a bronze head of the 12 zodiac animals. We should be able to take all of Picasso's paintings in Mr. Qin's hands. In Qin Haodong's room, it was full of sex. In the sound of blood boiling, he not only stabilized his cultivation at the late stage of the gold core realm with the help of double cultivation, but also stepped into the threshold of the 9th level of the supreme power realm with Nailan Wushuang. When the 2 of them walked out of the room excitedly, it was already midnight. Haodong, I'm not dreaming, am I? Nailan Wushuang couldn't believe it was true. Just a few days ago, she was just a warrior at the covert power realm. In just a week, she had already reached the 9th level of the supreme power realm and become the supreme existence among warriors. And it was the little man in front of her who brought all of this to her. Qin Haodong said with a smirk, How can it be a dream? Do you want me to prove it to you again? It's all true. Nailan Wushuang said shyly, This doesn't count. It will happen even in a dream. Qin Haodong raised his hand and slapped her waist. He said casually, Then I'll open the window and get some fresh air. I'll let you feel the real world. After that, he cancelled the defensive formation in the room and opened all the windows to let the fresh air in. But at this moment, a gust of wind passed by, directly sweeping away the Picasso painting on the table and rushing out of the window on the other side. Chapter 638. Wait for me here. Qin Haodong shouted and chased after the gust of wind. Although the other party's speed was so fast that it was beyond the range of what the naked eye could see, his spirit could still sense that it was a person. It was just that the speed was too fast, so there was a whirlwind. Heaven stealing legs. He immediately realized that this person was Heaven stealing legs, who was ranked first among the antique thieves. His speed was indeed extremely fast and he deserved the title of Divine Legs. Although Qin Haodong had already reached the 9th level of the supreme power realm, he was still a little slower than Heaven stealing legs in terms of speed. Heaven stealing legs seemed to be floating in the air. He could step over anything he encountered. Even the air under his feet seemed to be solid. Sometimes, he could even fly hundreds of meters in the air with both feet. Heaven stealing legs did not look back at all. He just kept running in front of him. It seemed that he had absolute confidence in his speed and it was impossible for others to catch up with him. It was true. Although Qin Haodong was also very fast, the distance between the 2 of them was still getting bigger and bigger. Soon, Heaven stealing legs could not be seen. But he was not in a hurry. He had left his divine sense mark on those Picasso's paintings. As long as Heaven stealing legs did not run out of Hong Kong, he could find them. Heaven stealing legs ran all the way out of the urban area of Hong Kong. He ran up a cliff like the wind and then jumped onto a tree that was more than 10 meters high. Only then did he stop. He looked back at the quiet night sky and a smug smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. The number 1 antique thief would definitely be him. Although Qin Haodong was also very powerful, he could not catch up with him. He took out a mobile phone from his pocket and opened the web page of the underground forum. Then, he took those Picasso's paintings from behind him and prepared to take photos and post them on the internet to prove that he had succeeded. At this moment, someone suddenly said coldly behind him, "Boy, you run very fast, but these paintings are still mine. No one can take them away." Heaven's stealing legs was so scared that his whole body trembled. He quickly put away his mobile phone and looked back. He saw Qin Haodong standing on a treetop behind him and looking at him coldly. Facing such a powerful enemy, Heaven's stealing leg only had one thought, and that was to run. He jumped down from the canopy and fled into the distance. But this time, Qin Haodong was on full alert. How could he give him a chance to escape? No matter how fast he was, he could not be faster than the flying sword. After a flash of golden light, a shrill scream pierced through the night sky. The Xianyuan sword directly cut off the legs of Skycracker. After letting out a miserable howl, he fell to the ground from mid-air and found that everything below his knees was gone. The severe pain made him roll all over the ground, and after a few tosses, he passed out. Qin Haodong gently jumped down from the tree, rolled up the paintings, and put them into the storage ring. Then, he walked toward the Heaven Cracker. This guy was a warrior, but his cultivation was not strong. He was only at the level of covert power. Moreover, his cultivation method was to run faster and did not have strong attack power. Qin Haodong suddenly, he saw an ancient thread-bound book on the ground. It had fallen out when Skycracker was rolling on the ground because of the pain in his legs. He picked it up and looked at it. It was a very old thread-bound book with ancient Wuxia characters on it. On the cover, there were 4 big words, Skycracker's legs. It could be seen that this guy learned his lightness kung fu from this ancient book, and he even gave himself the same name. Qin Haodong reached out and pointed a few times on the broken leg of Skycracker to help him stop the bleeding. Then, he kicked him awake. When Skycracker came to his senses, he immediately burst into tears when he saw his broken leg. "My leg is gone. My leg, you have to pay for my leg, shut up. If you shout again, I'll kill you," Qin Haodong said as he pointed the Xianyuan sword at his neck. He said in a cold voice, "Since you've been stealing things from others all day, you should be prepared to have your legs broken." Skycracker was not a tough guy. When he felt the murderous intent on the Xianyuan sword, he immediately closed his mouth and did not dare to make a sound. Qin Haodong raised the thread-bound book in his hand and said, "Where did you get this?" Skycracker quickly said, "It's mine. If Mr. Qin wants it, I'll give it to you as long as you spare my life." Qin Haodong said, "I'm asking you where you got it. I used to be a tomb robber. I found this book in an ancient tomb 20 years ago. I practiced it when I had nothing to do and found that my running speed was much faster. After discovering this benefit, I kept practicing and ran faster and faster. No one could catch up with me anymore, so they gave me the nickname Skycracker's legs." "Where is that ancient tomb?" Qin Haodong asked. The person who could leave this kind of cultivation method was definitely a master. If he had the chance, he also wanted to go and have a look. Skycracker's legs saw through his thoughts and said, "Mr. Qin, don't even think about going. When I went to the ancient tomb, it had been almost stolen. This book was hidden in a stone box and was very secretive. Otherwise, it would have been taken away long ago. After I mastered the sky-pilfering divine legs, I went there again to take a look. The ancient tomb had been blown up by someone, and I couldn't find anything useful anymore." Qin Haodong thought it was a pity and said, "I was going to kill you, but for the sake of this book, I'll spare your life. But you have to stay in Hong Kong for 3 days, and then I'll let you go." "Okay, thank you for sparing my life, Mr. Qin." Skycracker's legs knew that Qin Haodong wanted to use him to scare other chickens hiding in the dark, but as long as he could keep him alive, he didn't care what he did. Qin Haodong stopped talking nonsense. He picked up the belt of Skycracker's legs and returned to Hong Kong. He chose a downtown area and threw Skycracker's legs there. That was indeed his purpose. These days, the Li family's villa had been annoyed by the overwhelming number of thieves, and Zhang Tiniu and the others were also very tired. The best way to make these thieves who valued money more than their lives give up was to use Skycracker's legs as a warning. The top thief's legs had been broken, so they should completely give up. Qin Haodong sent the photos of Skycracker's legs to Donnie Randall. Soon, the miserable photos of Skycracker's legs appeared on all the underground forums. This trick worked quickly. Half an hour later, the thieves near the Li family's villa all retreated, and the whole world became quiet. The top 3 thieves in the world all returned in failure and even lost their legs, which made others completely give up the idea of stealing. Although Picasso's painting was good, after all, their lives were more important. Qin Haodong went back to his room, put the painting in his hand on the table, and then took out the thread-bound book of Skycracker's legs. Nalan Wushuang asked, "What is this?" Qin Haodong said, "It's a good thing. It's a cultivation method left by an ancient sect. It has unique features in terms of lightness." After that, he took Nalan Wushuang's hand and opened the thread-bound book. The two of them began to study it page by page. This book was divided into 2 parts. The first part was the internal cultivation method of Skycracker's legs, and the second part was the method of lightness. Qin Haodong had the cultivation of his previous life as the foundation, so it was much faster for him to learn other cultivation methods. After an hour, he had basically mastered the skill of Skycracker's legs. Nalan Wushuang was a little slower, but under his guidance, she finally learned this set of leg skills. The two of them jumped out of the window and began to feel this new set of leg skills. Because of their cultivation, they were faster than Skycracker's legs. According to the book, as long as they were fast enough, they could borrow the force of anything. When they ran to the extreme, they felt that the air under their feet had a kind of solid feeling, which could be used to borrow the force. After they were familiar with the cultivation method, they ran faster and faster. It only took them 10 minutes to run around Hong Kong. Good cultivation method. Back in the room, Qin Haodong sighed from the bottom of his heart. He had collected countless cultivation methods in the cultivation world, but none of them could compare with Skycracker's legs in terms of speed. He didn't expect that there could be such a superior lightness cultivation method on Earth. It could be seen that the martial arts here used to be glorious, but later it went into decline for some reason. The next morning, Qin Haodong received a call from Sir Owen. "Dear Qin, do you have time today? Can you come to my house? I have 3 old friends here. They are all great collectors. They want to see the works of Picasso in your hands." Qin Haodong said, "Sir Owen, I have already told you my conditions. Have they all brought what I want?" If he wanted to improve his cultivation further, he needed upper-level spirit stones, and he needed 2 upper-level spirit stones to break through from the middle stage of gold core to the late stage of gold core. If he wanted to break through to the early stage of nascent soul, he needed at least 4 upper-level spirit stones, or even more. Now it seemed that there must still be upper-level spirit stones on Earth. Maybe they were in the relics of a big sect, but they could only be found by chance. At present, the most direct way was to get the upper-level spirit stones hidden in the bronze heads of the 12 zodiac animals. Sir Owen said, of course, each of them brought a bronze head of the 12 zodiac animals and wanted to exchange it with Mr. Qin. Hearing that there were 3 bronze heads of the 12 zodiac animals, Qin Haodong was delighted and said, "Okay, Sir Owen, I'll go to your place right away." He and Nalan Wushuang made some preparations. This time, they didn't even bring Uncle Cheng. They drove directly to Sir Owen's manor. When they arrived at the gate, Fred was already waiting there. "Mr. Qin, please come with me." Fred led the way and took them into Sir Owen's luxurious living room. "My dear Qin, welcome." After seeing Qin Haodong, Sir Owen gave him a hug and then turned around to introduce Cantona and the others. Joseph took the lead and said, "Mr. Qin, I heard that you have a lot of Mr. Picasso's works. Can we have a look?" Of course. Since he wanted to exchange, he had to accept the inspection. Qin Haodong took out 3 albums of Picasso's works from his canvas bag and put them on the table. Chapter 639. Cantona and the others had obviously come prepared. Each of them had a professional appraiser with them. When these people saw the paintings that Qin Haodong took out, they immediately rushed over and looked at them one by one, like people who had been hungry for many days seeing bread. "Oh my God, this painting is really great. I'm sure that it was painted by Picasso himself. This piece of paper is the sketch paper of the Middle Ages. It can't be copied even if you want to. Oil painting, this is Picasso's oil painting. His signature is below it. It's really Picasso's handwriting. I can recognize it." These people were appraising and appreciating at the same time. From time to time, they exclaimed. Although Sir Owen did not exchange the 12 zodiac animals for these paintings of Picasso, he also went over to admire them. In the whole hall, only Qin Haodong and Nailan Wushuang sat leisurely next to each other, picking up the red wine glass from time to time and taking a sip. After a full 20 minutes, these people slowly woke up from their excitement and rearranged the albums. Qin Haodong glanced at Cantona and the others, then said with a smile, "Dear gentlemen, what do you think of my painting?" "It's great, it's really great. We haven't seen such a perfect painting for a long time." Cantona, who had a big beard, was so excited that his beard jumped. Qin Haodong said, "Does that mean there's no problem with my painting?" Cantona said, "No problem. This is the real Picasso. We can exchange it now." "Wait a minute." Qin Haodong said, "You've seen my painting. I still need to see your bronze heads of the 12 zodiac animals. I can exchange them only after I'm sure." "That's right," Cantona said and waved to the appraiser behind him. The appraiser reported a big box. When it was opened, it was a dog head of the 12 zodiac animals. Qin Haodong scanned it with his spirit and felt the fluctuation of the seal on the dog head. He immediately confirmed that it was real. He pretended to go forward to make an appraisal and said, "Mr. Cantona, I like your bronze head very much. Let's exchange it." "That's great, my God. From now on, you are my friend. Welcome to Europe." Cantona shook his beard excitedly and reached out to grab the album of oil paintings. "I already have Picasso's sketches in my exhibition room, so I'm very eager for his oil paintings. This album is mine." Sir Owen said enviously, "Congratulations, old friend." Cantona said, "I also want to thank you for helping me get to know a great collector like Qin." Seeing Cantona take away the album of oil paintings, the others were envious. Joseph said, "Dear Mr. Qin, I also want to exchange these works with you, and I've brought the sculpted heads of the 12 zodiacs. But there's one thing I have to explain to you first. My bronze head was passed down from my ancestors, and it has always been in the Joseph family's treasury. I don't know why there is one in the Wuxia Museum. I think what I have is real, so please have a look, Mr. Qin. If you don't mind, we can carry out the exchange. If you mind, I can only say that I'm sorry." Qin Haodong said, "It doesn't matter, Mr. Joseph. I'll take a look and see if I can make the exchange." He felt that this Mrs. Joseph was not bad. She would say whatever she wanted to say on the table. He had a good impression of her straightforward personality. Moreover, the bronze head in the Wuxia Museum was not necessarily the real one. For example, the dragon head was in his hands, while the one in the museum was forged later. Joseph asked his appraiser to place the box on the table and take out a bronze rabbit head of the 12 zodiac animals from within. Qin Haodong sensed it with his spirit. There was a faint seal fluctuation on it. It seemed that this one was indeed real, and the one in the Wuxia Museum could only be a fake. He went over and played with the rabbit head in his hand. He looked at Joseph, who was a little nervous, and said, "I like this rabbit head very much. Whether it's real or fake, I'm willing to exchange with you." "That's great, Qin. This is really good news." Joseph came over, hugged Qin Haodong, and kissed him hard on the forehead. He had always been very eager for Picasso's painting. On the way here, he was always worried. Now, he could finally officially exchange. He gave the rabbit head to Qin Haodong and then chose the children's album. 2 of the 3 people had completed the exchange, and only Gompos was left. Gompos said, "Dear Mr. Qin, there is nothing wrong with my bronze head. It has never appeared in the Wuxia Museum. You can rest assured." After that, he asked his appraiser to move the box to the table and take out a bronze head from it. When he saw the bronze head, Qin Haodong's face changed, because it was a bull's head. The real bull head was now in his storage ring. The upper-level spirit stone had been used, so there was no doubt that this was a fake. Mr. and Mrs. Smith once told him that this bull head was stolen from a rich man named Gompos, but many people in Europe had this name. People in Wuxia couldn't tell them apart at all, so he didn't care too much at first. He didn't expect it to be this Gompos. "Mr. Qin, what do you think? If there is no problem, this still life album is mine," Gompos said as he reached out to grab the album. He saw clearly that Qin Haodong had just checked the 2 bronze heads of the 12 zodiac. It was not professional at all. It was completely a formality. In his opinion, he was a rich man who didn't know anything. In this case, he naturally couldn't see any problem with the bronze head. Unexpectedly, before his hand touched the album, Qin Haodong said in a cold voice, "I'm sorry, Mr. Gompos. I don't like your bull head, so we can't exchange." What a joke. When it came to appraising the bronze heads of the 12 zodiac, no one in the world was more professional than him. How could he be fooled by a fake bull head? Gompos looked the same, and then his face darkened. He said discontentedly, "Mr. Qin, why? Why can other people's bronze heads be exchanged? Only mine can't be exchanged?" Qin Haodong frowned. This old guy was really asking for a snub. He had been very euphemistic. It would be good for both sides to save some face. Did he have to say it out loud? "Mr. Gompos, I've already said that I'll exchange if I like it, and I won't exchange if I don't like it. I don't like your bull head, so I can't exchange with you." "No, it's not appropriate," Gompos said with a gloomy face. "I'm a famous figure in the collection world in Europe and even in the world. If you treat me like this, others will mistakenly think that my bull head is fake and it will affect my reputation, so you have to exchange with me." Sir Owen said, "Mr. Gompos, you don't have to do this. Maybe you'll get better things in the future." He was a little dissatisfied with Gompos' behavior. Since Qin Haodong was unwilling to exchange, why did he keep pestering him? The exchange should have been voluntary. This was not what a gentleman would do. Originally, Gompos should have given up after saying this, but this guy did not mean to stop at all. He continued to shout, "No, you can't do this. I think this is a humiliation to me." Qin Haodong had just gotten 2 upper-level spirit stones and was in a very good mood, so he didn't want to argue with this old guy. He didn't expect that this guy would take advantage of him. Since the other party was shameless, there was no need for him to continue to save face. He said, "Mr. Gompos, since you said so, I'm sorry to tell you that your bull head is fake." "What? How could the thing I took out be fake? Do you know anything about appraisal? You have to give me a reason to say that it's fake." Sir Owen said, "Yes, Mr. Qin, are you sure?" In their circle, if someone took out a fake to exchange with a friend, it was a very shameful thing. He was afraid that Qin Haodong had said it in a moment of anger. "His bull head is indeed fake," Qin Haodong said, "because the real bull head is in my hands." Cantona said, "Gompos, since Mr. Qin already has a bull head in his hands, let's forget about it." He also felt that there was no need to say whose was real and whose was fake in such a private exchange. Otherwise, it would not look good for anyone. But Gompos still said firmly, "This is not a reason at all. Why is the bull head in your hand not a fake? Why do you say that it's just a fake?" Qin Haodong's face also became cold. This guy who didn't know when to retreat was really annoying. It was obvious that he wanted to exchange his painting with a fake bull head. Mr. and Mrs. Smith's ox head sculpture was stolen from Gompos. He must have known that it was really lost. This ox head sculpture must have been imitated by him. He knew that it was a fake, but he still said it so confidently. This was the essence of the problem. He said coldly, "Are you sure you want me to prove it to you? Of course, you can't say that my thing is fake for no reason. You should apologize to me now and then complete the exchange." The reason why Gompos was so firm was that he was full of confidence. This bull head was made in a hurry by someone in order to exchange for Picasso's painting. He had a master of counterfeiting. The fake antiques made by this person generally had no flaws and were difficult to be seen through. Qin Haodong's performance was too casual. He was not like a professional in antiques at all, so he insisted again and again to get the painting in Qin Haodong's hands. "Then I'll prove it to you." After Qin Haodong said that, he turned back and pulled out the beauty thorn in Nalan Wushuang's hand. He slashed at the bull head fiercely. With the infusion of his genuine qi, the beauty thorn was almost invincible. It cut the bull head in half with one slash. Chapter 640. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. They were shocked that Qin Haodong could cut open the bronze ox head sculpture. At the same time, they did not understand why he did this. After Gompos came to his senses, he shouted angrily, "Barbaric Wuxia man, why did you destroy my things?" Qin Haodong ignored him. He pointed to the broken ox head sculpture and said to Cantona and others, "You are all experts in ancient Chinese. Now you should understand that this is a fake, right?" These people looked at the ox head sculpture and immediately understood Qin Haodong's intention. They saw that the cut of the ox head sculpture was very bright, and at the same time, it was shining with a metallic luster. It was obviously a bronze that had just been cast. It did not look like a centuries-old antique at all. There was no need for the appraiser to identify it. Everyone knew that the ox head sculpture was fake. Sir Owen said, "Mr. Gompos, it's shameful to deceive your friends with fake antiques. You should give us an explanation." Gompos was dumbfounded. After he made this fake bronze head sculpture, he had asked several professional experts to identify it. These people did not find any flaws. But he never expected that the Wuxia man in front of him did not take the usual way and directly cut the bronze head sculpture. The fake craftsmanship was all on the outside, but the inside could not be hidden in any way. He licked his dry lips and said embarrassedly, "Sir Owen, I'm really sorry. I didn't know that this ox head sculpture was fake." His reason was barely reasonable. After all, no one could guarantee that the things in their collection were 100% authentic. It was normal to have one or two fakes. But since they had fallen out, Qin Haodong did not intend to let this guy go. He directly used the soul-devouring skill and asked, "Mr. Gompos, is that true? Please explain to God what is going on." "God, I was wrong." Gompos said, "I did have a bronze ox head sculpture of the 12 zodiac animals in my early years, but I lost it later. But I coveted those paintings of Picasso, so I specially found someone to make this fake ox head sculpture. I want to complete this exchange with you." "My God, how can you do such a shameless thing? Is this still what a gentleman would do? Shameful. It's too shameful. How dare you make a fake to deceive your friends? What's your bottom line?" After Gompos finished speaking, Sir Owen and the others' expressions changed greatly, and they all began to criticize Gompos. Sir Owen said, "Gompos, you disappoint me. People like you are not welcome in my house. Please go out." Cantona said, "From today on, we have nothing to do with each other anymore. We are no longer friends. I'm ashamed to be friends with someone like you." Joseph said, "Me too. I won't have any contact with you in the future." Gompos came to his senses and was too ashamed to stay here any longer. He left Sir Owen's manor with his appraiser and servants in disgrace. After he left, Sir Owen said to Qin Haodong, "Mr. Qin, I apologize for his shameless behavior. Sir, this has nothing to do with you, and I am very grateful for your help." Today, Qin Haodong had exchanged 2 of the 12 Zodiac's core, which was quite satisfactory. He should really thank Sir Owen for all this. He picked up the rest of the still life album and said, "Sir, to show my gratitude, this album is for you." "Oh my God, dear Qin, are you really giving it to me?" Sir Owen couldn't believe his ears. He didn't expect that Qin Haodong could take out such a precious thing and give it away so casually. Qin Haodong smiled and said, "Of course, sir. Thank you for your help this time." Sir Owen said excitedly, "Dear Qin, you are really my best friend. If you need anything in the future, just tell me." Qin Haodong nodded and said to Cantona and the other 2, "Everyone, it's nice to meet you. If you find any bronze statues of the 12 zodiac animals in the future, you are welcome to come and exchange with me, or send me a message." Cantona said, "Mr. Qin, we are also very happy to meet you. You will be our friend in the future." Joseph said, "Qin, do you still have Picasso's paintings?" Qin Haodong smiled and said, "Mr. Joseph, please rest assured. Even if I don't have Picasso's paintings, I will definitely be able to give you something that will satisfy you, as long as you can take out the real bronze heads of the 12 zodiac animals." He didn't have any now, but as long as he was willing, he could draw the paintings of Leonardo da Vinci, Van Gogh, Picasso and others anytime and anywhere. After the exchange, Qin Haodong declined Sir Owen's invitation to have lunch with him and returned to the Li's villa with Naylan Wushuang. After entering the door, he found a beautiful woman sitting in his room. It was Feng Wu, who looked like a fairy. "Feng Wu, you are here." Although she had said in the morning that she would come to see him, Qin Haodong was still a little surprised. He went over and held her hand. "Don't be like this. Sister Wushuang is still here." Although the 2 of them were cultivation partners, Feng Wu was still a little embarrassed. Her jade-like cheeks flushed. "It's nothing. We will be a family in the future," Qin Haodong said as he held Naylan Wushuang's hand in his palm. This time, even Naylan Wushuang's face turned red. He then said to Feng Wu, "Have you finished your business?" Feng Wu nodded and said, "I have told my master everything about you. She is very happy. She asked me to stay by your side all the time. One is to protect your safety, and the other is to improve my cultivation quickly so that I can become a saint as soon as possible like Sister Shirhan." Speaking of this, her cheeks became redder and redder. The so-called rapid improvement of cultivation was to have more cultivation partners. Qin Haodong did not realize this. He asked again, "By the way, do you have any news about Shirhan? How is she now?" Feng Wu said, "Sister Shirhan was indeed taken back to the Yinsha sect by her master. Now she is the master of the Yinsha sect." "Oh. That's good." Qin Haodong nodded and was also happy for this little girl. Feng Wu said, "I heard that you have an appointment with Mei Zhanlong on the Divine Dragon Island. Do you want me to fight for you?" "No, I'm now a 9th level Supreme Power Master," Qin Haodong said and injected genuine qi into Feng Wu's body according to the cultivation method of the Xianyuan skill. Feng Wu felt a powerful genuine qi combining with her genuine qi of Lei Mother. It was several times stronger than before and quickly flowed through her limbs and bones. "Great! This is great!" she cried out excitedly. The stronger Qin Haodong's cultivation was, the better the effect of their dual cultivation would be. This gave her hope to break through the bottleneck of the Saint Realm. In the next few days, Qin Haodong spent his happy dual cultivation with Feng Wu and Naylan Wushuang. Outside, the matter about the duel between him and Mei Zhanlong was getting more and more heated. Influenced by his long-term reputation, more people were optimistic about Mei Zhanlong, but few people were optimistic about Qin Haodong. Who was Mei Zhanlong? He was known as the #1 person in the magic circle of Hong Kong and the #1 master in Hong Kong. No one had shaken his position for many years. Everyone knew that his magic power was boundless and his Taoist magic arts were profound. On weekdays, many high-ranking officials, nobles and princes were his distinguished guests. Only the top rich people could visit him. How could such a person lose the duel? Gambling in Hong Kong was legal. The major casinos here opened their own bets one after another. What was strange was that the bets opened by the casinos were 1-1. Mei Zhanlong's odds were 10-9, and Qin Haodong's odds were also 10-9. Ordinary people did not understand what was going on. They thought that they had gained a big advantage, so they all placed their bets on Mei Zhanlong. After operating for so many years, the casinos naturally had their own opening rules. Ordinary people did not know who Qin Haodong was, but they knew very well. He was the medical sage from Wuxia. He could kill Master Jia, Sarah Banta, and Ichenzi silently. A few days ago, the top 3 thieves in the world were all defeated by him. It was not easy to win against such a person. Li Meiyu had taken over the Li family's business, but she still had to ask Li Donghua for advice on some important matters. Grandpa, now the casino has opened the odds of Haodong and Mei Zhanlong. What should we bet? Li Donghua picked up the teacup in front of him and took a sip. He looked up at his granddaughter and said, if the medical sage loses this duel, how much will it affect our Li family? Li Meiyu said, it will have a great impact. Because of our relationship with Haodong, I guess Mei Zhanlong will vent his anger on our Li family and even wipe us out of Hong Kong. Now we are in the same boat as Haodong. Li Donghua said, in that case, why are you hesitating? I understand, Grandpa. Li Meiyu agreed and then mobilized all the family's funds to bet on Qin Haodong. It was very clear that they were bound together with Qin Haodong. If Qin Haodong won, the Li family would usher in an unprecedented future. If Qin Haodong lost, the Li family would also cease to exist. In an extremely hidden luxury villa in America, Donnie Randall had become the new master of the underground deep web. She kept checking the important information sent by her subordinates. When she saw the bet between Qin Haodong and Mei Zhanlong, a smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. Others might not know, but she knew very well how terrible this Wuxia man was. She had bet all her family's money on Qin Haodong. After that, she murmured, Wuxia man, although I didn't steal your painting, I will make a lot of money from you. After receiving the news, Lin Momo in Shanghai also mobilized all the funds in her hands and bet all on Qin Haodong. In addition, Sir Owen also bet heavily on Qin Haodong. Even Tian Yi and Zhang Chaohui of the shopping center bet on Qin Haodong. In this way, the major casinos in Hong Kong went completely crazy. There were many people betting on Mei Zhanlong, but the amount of money betting on Qin Haodong was much larger. The two sides were still evenly matched. Soon it was the day of the duel. Qin Haodong refused the bodyguards arranged by the Li family. He only boarded the speedboat arranged by the Li family with Nalan Wushuang and Feng Wu and headed for Divine Dragon Island. Chapter 641. Compared with Qin Haodong, Mei Zhanlong's momentum was much greater. He had booked a huge luxury yacht and brought hundreds of disciples and servants with him. He was dressed in a cyan robe, with long hair fluttering in the wind and a long sword on his back. He looked like an immortal and had the demeanor of a master. After the boat docked, Mei Zhanlong walked toward the center of Divine Dragon Island. His disciples spread out around the island and drove away all the people who were ready to go to the island to watch. Today's battle was not allowed to be watched. Only a few people were sitting on yachts around the island, holding binoculars in their hands and watching from afar. After all, Mei Zhanlong had not fought for a long time and many people wanted to see his elegant demeanor. Mei Zhanlong walked calmly to the center of the island. When he saw Qin Haodong waiting there, he sneered and said, "Boy, I didn't expect you to really dare to come." He kept looking at Qin Haodong with his eyes. He could not see through the young man's cultivation and he could not feel any dangerous aura. The more he looked at Qin Haodong, the more uneasy he felt. Qin Haodong smiled and said, "I have an appointment with an old faker like you. Why wouldn't I dare to come? Qin Haodong, how dare you kill my 2 disciples? Today, I'll make you pay with your life." Mei Zhanlong said with a murderous look, "Are you ready? If you are, I'm going to make a move. Come on, let me see how capable an old faker like you is." Qin Haodong waved his hand and asked Feng Wu and Nalan Wushuang to step aside. "I'm going to make a move," Mei Zhanlong said arrogantly, but in fact, he was very careful. He did not mean to let Qin Haodong make the first move. Instead, he made the first move. He stretched out his hands and suddenly a monstrous evil spirit swept out of his sleeves like a long dragon, rolling up and down. Finally, the 2 evil spirits merged together and cut toward Qin Haodong like a huge pair of scissors. An expert could be seen as soon as he made his move. After Mei Zhanlong made his move, Feng Wu and Nalan Wushuang's expressions changed a little. It seemed that the title of the #1 Taoist in Hong Kong was not undeserved. This old guy did have some real skills. Qin Haodong still had a smile on his face. Although Mei Zhanlong was much stronger than his 2 disciples, he still could not pose any threat to him. Seeing the 2 murderous dragons sweeping over, he stretched out his hand, and the Xian Yuan sword appeared in his palm. Then, a golden light slashed out. "No matter how powerful your spells are, I'll cut them down with my sword." The Xian Yuan sword came out, and the sharp sword Qi collided with the evil Qi. In an instant, the long dragon of evil Qi disappeared, and the remaining power did not decrease. It slashed in the direction of Mei Zhanlong. Mei Zhanlong's expression changed greatly. He didn't expect Qin Haodong's sword Qi to be so powerful. He quickly made a seal with his hands and his fingers trembled like flowers. Then a huge Tai Chi diagram appeared in front of him and blocked the sword Qi. "Kid, you do have some ability." Mei Zhanlong's expression became extremely serious. Qin Haodong held the Xian Yuan sword in his hand and said, "Old faker, if that's all you've got, you'll have to meet your disciple." He was not in a hurry to make his move. He wanted to see what the most powerful Dharma caster in Hong Kong was capable of. "Kid, since I dared to challenge you, I'm sure that I can kill you," Mei Zhanlong said as he took out a red banner from his arms. The banner was so red that it seemed to be dripping blood. The black scriptures on it were constantly moving, which looked extremely strange. He made a gesture, then raised his hand and shook it. The banner immediately became bigger and then disappeared in the air. Within a radius of 100 meters from the center of Divine Dragon Island, the sky suddenly darkened, as if night had fallen. Then, countless ghosts emerged from the darkness and let out soul-stirring screams. As soon as the spell was completed, Mei Zhanlong sneered and said, "Kid, let's see what's the use of your swordsmanship in front of my ghost domain." Ghosts were invisible and intangible, and the substantial sword Qi could not cause any harm to them at all. Moreover, his magic weapon was specially refined. Under the protection of the banner, those ghosts were not afraid of sunlight at all, so he chose to fight in the morning. Around Divine Dragon Island, the people on the yachts were watching with great interest. Suddenly, the top of the mountain turned black and they could not see anything. Master Mei is really a master. He's so powerful, what a powerful magic. It's over. That kid surnamed Qin is finished. Just now, I saw that his swordsmanship seemed to be very powerful. I thought that he could compete with Master Mei. Master Mei is really the best in Dharma caster. He deserves his reputation. People praised Mei Zhanlong's power, but they were also very regretful in their hearts. Under such circumstances, they could not see Qin Haodong being defeated. Feeling the endless ghosts around him, Qin Haodong's expression became colder and colder. Like disciple, like master. Mei Zhanlong and his disciple used ghosts to refine magic weapons. These dead ghosts were trapped in this banner and could not enter reincarnation. They could not see the sun for the rest of their lives, which was completely against the way of heaven. Facing the fierce ghosts coming at him, he took out the yin-yang mirror and shouted, "Come in." The yin-yang mirror was a great divine weapon that could communicate with the yin and yang realms. Under the powerful suction, these ghosts immediately got rid of the control of the banner and rushed to the yin-yang mirror like birds returning to their nests. They instantly escaped into reincarnation. Mei Zhanlong stood aside and was waiting to hear the screams of Qin Haodong being bitten by hundreds of ghosts. However, he did not expect that in the blink of an eye, his ghost domain would be completely broken. The banner fell to the ground with a plop and there was no ghost in it. You actually broke my magic weapon." Mei Zhanlong was so distressed that his eyes were full of anger. If his eyes could kill, Qin Haodong would have died thousands of times. You and your disciple used ghosts to refine magic weapons. It's against the way of heaven. What's the use of keeping this thing? As Qin Haodong spoke, a golden light flashed in his hand and the Xian Yuan sword directly cut the banner into 2 pieces. There was no possibility of using it in the future. "Boy, you're courting death." Mei Zhanlong shouted angrily, "Do you know why I chose this place for the decisive battle? Today, I'll let you die with no regrets under the heavenly water skill that I've recently comprehended." After saying that, his hair and beard fluttered, and his Taoist robe swelled up. His 2 hands were like arranging flowers, forming one magic art after another. The originally somewhat gloomy sky began to surge, forming dark clouds within 100 meters above their heads, and then it began to drizzle. "Qin, now I'll show you the power of my heavenly water skill." As soon as Mei Zhanlong waved his hand, the rain in the air immediately turned into extremely sharp water blades and attacked Qin Haodong. Countless water lines were like countless knife lights crisscrossing, full of murderous intent. "Your Taoist skills are good, but it's a pity that your cultivation is too weak." Qin Haodong sneered and formed an air shield around his body with his genuine qi. The water blades slid down after colliding with the air shield and finally turned into rain on the ground. Seeing that the water blades were in vain, Mei Zhanlong raised his hands and waved his palms. The rain in the air condensed together and finally turned into a water dragon that was more than 10 feet long. The water dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws with great power. It opened its mouth and pounced on Qin Haodong. Slash! Qin Haodong shouted and his body rose into the air. The Xian Yuan sword in his hand suddenly slashed at the water dragon with a golden light that was more than 10 feet long. Although the water dragon was fierce, it was still formed by water vapor. It was cut in half by the Xian Yuan sword and then turned into a pool of rain and fell down. This time, Qin Haodong did not hold back. A sharp sword qi directly pierced into Mei Zhanlong's left shoulder, leaving a deep wound. The people on the yacht were originally watching with great interest and they all cheered for Mei Zhanlong's Taoist skills. However, they did not expect that Mei Zhanlong would be the one who was injured in the end. Mei Zhanlong glanced at the wound on his shoulder and shouted to the woods next to him, "Song Gang, I'm injured. Why don't you come out? Lao Mei, I haven't seen you for a few years. You're really getting worse and worse. You can't even defeat such a young man. You even need me to help you." While speaking, a fat monk came out of the bushes. It was Song Gang, the great witch master. Nailan Wushuang shouted to Mei Zhanlong, "You're the best in magic in Hong Kong. It's a duel between the 2 of you. How can you find a helper?" Mei Zhanlong sneered and said, "Since ancient times, the winner is the king and the loser is the thief. It doesn't matter what means I use. Anyway, all of you will die today." Qin Haodong did not care too much. He glanced at the monk and asked, "Who are you?" Song Gang said, "My disciple is Sarabanta." "Oh. I see. It seems that you are also here to take revenge on me. It's good that you know. Boy, I'll let you taste the power of my white bone formation." It turned out that after Qin Haodong left that day, it was Song Gang who came to the Divine Dragon Island. He had made sufficient preparations here and added a white bone formation. After that, Song Gang's fat body shook slightly and countless red beetles rushed out of his body. The strange thing was that these insects did not pounce on Qin Haodong. Instead, they all drilled into the ground. Qin Haodong had seen magic to control snakes and insects before. It was not rare in the cultivation world. The Miaojian voodoo on earth was also one of such magic. However, he had never seen insects like Song Gang who did not attack people. At this moment, the ground around the island loosened and dry claws stretched out from the ground. Then, skeletons broke out of the ground and rushed at Qin Haodong crazily. At the same time, the whole Divine Dragon Island was covered with a gloomy wind and thick fog. The people on the yacht outside could not see anything and began to curse. The nearest skeleton warrior had rushed to Qin Haodong's side. He shook the Xian Yuan sword in his hand slightly, and the skeleton was cut into several pieces and scattered on the ground. Then a red beetle flew out and drilled into the ground again. Soon after the beetle went into the ground, another skeleton drilled out of the ground. It turned out that these insects were the source of skeleton warriors. As long as the insects did not die, there would be endless skeletons. Chapter 642. The battle had become a life-and-death battle. Not only did these skeletons attack Qin Haodong, but they also surrounded Nailan Wushuang and Feng Wu and attacked them crazily. Fortunately, although there were many skeletons, their combat power was not strong. The two of them waved the swords in their hands and soon scattered the skeletons and joined Qin Haodong. "Haodong, what should we do?" Seeing more and more skeletons around, Nailan Wushuang was a little nervous. She was originally the eldest daughter of the Nailan family, but now she had to fight with these gloomy and terrifying monsters. She was still not used to it. Feng Wu was much calmer. She said, "Find a chance to kill that monk and this formation will be broken." When they looked around, they found that the fog in the formation was getting thicker and thicker. They could only see through more than 10 meters and they had lost sight of Mei Zhanlong and Song Gang. At this moment, talismans flew into the air. These talismans did not burn or explode. It seemed that they had no other function. They just floated in the air. Just when they were puzzled, a skeleton warrior suddenly jumped on the talisman and then attacked the three of them from the air. What the f***ck? How can they do this? Qin Haodong sent a skeleton warrior flying in the air with his sword. He knew that Mei Zhanlong must be cooperating with Song Gang. This time, the pressure on the three of them suddenly increased a lot. These skeletons really reached an overwhelming level, and the sky and the ground were full of skeleton warriors. These guys waved bone knives and bone swords in their hands. Some even directly picked up the leg bones and skulls of their companions and attacked them. These guys were like locusts. Every time one was killed, the beetles inside would drill into the ground again. Soon, a new skeleton warrior would come in. Nailan Wushuang waved the beauty thorn in her hand to resist the overwhelming skeleton warriors and said, "Haodong, why don't we rush out? As long as we leave Divine Dragon Island, there will definitely be no skeletons. Otherwise, we will be exhausted to death sooner or later." Qin Haodong said, "Don't worry. Let's wait and see." He had an intuition that this white bone formation did not seem to be simple. It was very likely that Song Gang had other tricks. Outside the formation, Mei Zhanlong said to Song Gang, "Old man, these ants are not enough. They can't be killed at all. Hurry up and release your treasures." At this time, Song Gang was much thinner than before. He chuckled and said, "Don't worry, it's more interesting to play slowly." As he spoke, his body shook again, and a dozen golden beetles flew out and burrowed into the ground. After a while, the ground of Divine Dragon Island trembled, and then more than a dozen beast skeletons drilled out. These wild beast skeletons included lions, tigers, elephants, and a few rhinoceroses. Not only were their skeletons much larger than the skeleton warriors, but their bodies were also faintly emitting a golden halo. They were faster and had stronger combat strength. With the addition of these beast skeletons, the pressure on Qin Haodong and the other two suddenly increased. Outside the formation, Song Gang had a smug look on his face. "Old friend, you see. I didn't prepare for nothing these past 3 days. Once they fall into my great bone formation, even if these little things don't die, they will be exhausted to death." But as soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly saw the golden light in the formation, followed by a faint sound of Sanskrit. He was shocked and looked at the white bone formation. He saw that Qin Haodong was holding the devil vanquishing wand in his hand. The wand was emitting wisps of Buddha's light. Whether it was the beast skeletons or the skeleton warriors, as long as they were swept by the Buddha's light, they would immediately be purified into nothingness. Although there were many skeleton warriors, as long as they were swept by the Buddha's light, they would disappear. Even the beetles inside would not be spared. In the blink of an eye, under the illumination of the devil vanquishing wand, there were no more white bones in the great bone formation. The dense fog around them also slowly dissipated. Song Gang and Mei Zhanlong, whose faces were livid, appeared in front of them again. Qin Haodong put away the devil vanquishing wand, looked at Song Gang and said jokingly, "Monk, you lose weight very quickly. What other means do you have?" Song Gang glared at him fiercely and shouted to the woods behind him, "Have you old things seen enough? If you have, come out. You two old things, after hiding your identities for so many years, it seems that your abilities have shrunk. You can't even deal with these little guys." While they were talking, 4 figures flashed out of the woods. The 4 of them were all experts at the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm. After seeing them, Feng Wu's expression suddenly changed. "For great kings of the Devil Gate, why are you here?" Qin Haodong had heard from Feng Wu that there were 8 great elders and 4 great kings of the Devil Gate. He did not expect that they would appear on this small island together. Mei Zhanlong took 2 steps forward and said with a sneer, "Boy, you're still far inferior to me in terms of scheming. Do you know why I set the appointment 7 days later? It's to wait for the 4 heavenly kings of the Devil Gate." Qin Haodong glanced at him and said, "So you are also a member of the Devil Gate?" Mei Zhanlong laughed, turned to look at Song Gang and said, "We have hidden our identities for so many years. It's time to show our true strength." After that, his aura suddenly rose. He was also a 9th level Supreme Power Realm expert. Next to him, Song Gang's body immediately changed. He suddenly grew more than 10 centimeters taller and reached about 180 meters. His body exuded a powerful aura. He was also a 9th level Supreme Power Realm expert. Feng Wu's expression changed again. "Yi Feng, the 1,000-armed man, and Zhang Xiao, the 100-face evil king, are you? No wonder there has been no news of you for so many years. It turns out that you have been hiding here." Qin Haodong said, "Why? Are these 2 guys very famous?" He was also a little surprised. It seemed that the Devil Gate did have some unique methods. These 2 old guys had sealed their cultivation, but their primordial spirits could not detect it. Feng Wu said with a serious expression, "Song Gang's real name is Yi Feng, nicknamed the 1,000-armed man. Mei Zhanlong's real name is Zhang Xiao, nicknamed the 100-face evil king. They are 2 of the 8 great elders of the Devil Gate, ranked 3rd and 5th respectively. The 8 great elders of the Devil Gate and the 4 guardian kings were all 9th level Supreme Power Realm experts. Today, 6 of them had appeared on the Divine Dragon Island, which was far beyond her expectation. Although Qin Haodong and the other 2 had also reached the 9th level Supreme Power Realm, they had no chance of winning if they fought 1 against 2. The 100-face evil king said proudly, "Qin boy, you didn't expect this, did you? Last time you injured 3 of our Devil Gate's masters. Do you think it's over? I got the news as soon as you came to Hong Kong. I was thinking about how to lure you into the trap. I didn't expect that you would take the initiative to kill my two useless disciples. I just happened to beat you at your own game and tricked you to come to the Divine Dragon Island. The thousand-armed man also said proudly, magic and tame head are all used for fun when we have nothing to do. This is our real strength. Even if you little guys have some cultivation, you can't defeat the six of us in any case. The hundred-face evil king said to Qin Haodong, boy, your mirror is good. I want it. The thousand-armed man said, I like the sword in your hand. Give it to me obediently and I can leave your body intact. The hundred-face evil king's eyes drifted over Nalan Wushuang and Feng Wu. He said with a lewd smile, I heard that we can't touch the women of the Zihang sword house, but this girl is good. We can have fun together. I haven't met such a good woman for a long time. The thousand-armed man said, I want the boy's surname Qin. Don't damage his body when we fight. I just happen to be refining a corpse puppet. With his cultivation, the corpse puppet must be of the best quality. Do you think you will win? Qin Haodong looked at the two of them and said, have you ever heard of the saying, those who show off will be struck by lightning? As he spoke, he made an incantation with his hand. The wind and clouds above the Divine Dragon Island suddenly changed and dark clouds rolled. The momentum was much greater than that of the hundred-face evil king just now. The entire area within a kilometer was covered. The Nine Heavens Divine Thunder Formation was officially activated. Boy, do you still want to? The hundred-face evil king was about to say a few more words, but before he finished speaking, a bolt of lightning suddenly struck down from mid-air and hit him hard on the head. Suddenly, the hundred-face evil king's long hair all stood up, just like the legendary Lei Zhenzi. His face was charred black, the robe on his body was in tatters, and the mouth that was speaking could no longer make any sound, but instead emitted a black smoke. At the same time, another bolt of lightning struck down and hit the head of the thousand-armed man next to him. This guy was originally bald, and there was no hair on his head. After being struck by lightning, there was a faint smell of burnt meat. Qin Haodong looked at the two of them and couldn't help laughing. How is it? It tastes good, doesn't it? I told you not to show off, or you will be struck by lightning. At this time, the White Tiger King of the Four Heavenly Kings shouted, this boy is very strange. Kill him quickly, or we can't fight against this formation. After saying that, he jumped up and drew a long saber in his hand. The saber light filled the sky and he slashed at Qin Haodong with a fierce murderous intent. As a ninth-level Supreme Power Master, his saber technique was indeed unique. The saber light was so cold that it seemed to tear the air apart. But at this moment, a bolt of lightning flashed along his long saber and fiercely struck the White Tiger King's head. With a plop, the White Tiger King, who was in mid-air, suddenly lost his ability to move and fell to the ground like a puppet. This formation is too powerful. Run! The Vermilion Bird King said as he grabbed the White Tiger King's belt and rushed out of the island with him in a stream of light. The White Tiger King's body movement was extremely fast. As he ran, he dodged the lightning in mid-air and successfully escaped. Chapter 643. On the other side, Azure Dragon King and Black Tortoise King also took action. They grabbed Thousand-Armed Man and Hundred-Face respectively and fled out of the Nine Heavens Thunder Formation. Qin Haodong was controlling the formation and couldn't be distracted. Nalan Wushuang and Feng Wu did take action. The beauty thorn in Nalan Wushuang's hand turned into a stream of light and stabbed at Azure Dragon King. At this time, Azure Dragon did not dare to fight anymore. He slipped to the side and fled forward again. He dodged the sword, but Thousand-Armed Man in his hand failed to dodge. Nalan Wushuang's beauty thorn pierced through his right chest with blood. On the other side, Feng Wu also slashed at Black Tortoise King with her Leimu sword. Black Tortoise King was carrying a man and had to avoid the thunder and lightning all over the sky, so he couldn't compete with Feng Wu at all. In a panic, Hundredface lost one of his arms. Anyway, these people were saved. After escaping from the Nine Heavens Thunder Formation, they quickly ran to the seaside. The onlookers on the shore saw that the Divine Dragon Island was once again covered with dark clouds and thunder. They were worried that they couldn't see what was going on inside. Suddenly, they saw several figures running out. A young rich man was standing on a yacht and looking at the middle of the island. Vermilion Bird King grabbed White Tiger King and jumped onto his yacht, kicking him off. Then he drove the yacht and fled into the distance with several people behind him. "Damn it, who are you? How dare you steal my yacht? I'm not done with you." The young man was almost kicked to death by Vermilion Bird King. He choked a few mouthfuls of water in the sea and was rescued. Then he cursed loudly. The people on the yacht nearby all gathered around and began to talk about it. "I saw Master Mei Zhanlong among those people. One of his shoulders is bleeding and he lost an arm. Did I see it wrong? Did Master Mei run away? Did Great Master Mei lose? Great Master Mei has really been defeated. I'm finished this time. I've bet all my wealth on him." Some people still had a glimmer of hope. "Don't worry. Although Master Mei ran away, Qin Haodong might be dead. In that case, Master Mei will still win." But at this moment, the wind and clouds on the Divine Dragon Island dispersed, the thunder stopped, and everything returned to peace. Qin Haodong walked to the shore with Nalan Wushuang and Feng Wu. Qin Haodong ignored many surprised eyes and took them to the yacht. Then, they drove toward the shore. After getting on the boat, Nalan Wushuang said, "The Devil Gate is really everywhere. I didn't expect Mei Zhanlong to be a hidden elder of the Devil Gate. He even set such a big trap for us." Feng Wu said, "They suffered such a big loss last time. I thought they would be quiet for a while, but I didn't expect that the Devil Gate's behavior could not be judged by common sense. They actually sent 6 elders at the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm at once." Nalan Wushuang said, "Fortunately, Haodong made preparations in advance, otherwise we would have suffered a big loss today." While they were talking, they had already approached the shore. In the distance, Li Meiyu was standing on the dock and looking in this direction. Her face was full of worry. When she saw Qin Haodong's yacht, her expression immediately became lively. After Qin Haodong went ashore, she no longer cared about being a girl and threw herself into Qin Haodong's arms. There were 2 lines of tears on her happy face. She murmured, "That's great. Haodong, it's great that you're fine." Qin Haodong patted her on the back and said, "Well, let's go back and talk about it." After getting in the car, they returned to the Li family's villa together. At the same time, the whole Hong Kong was in an uproar. The news that Qin Haodong had defeated Master Mei Zhanlong spread to every corner. At first, some people did not believe it, but then someone went to the Divine Dragon Island and found one of Master Mei Zhanlong's arms on the island. Since then, no one had any doubts. Moreover, after this battle, Mei Zhanlong completely disappeared and there was no news about him. His disciples also scattered when the tree fell. Master Mei Zhanlong, who was known as the #1 magic caster in Hong Kong, fell from the altar. Mei Zhanlong was defeated. The gamblers who had bet a lot of money on him were the most angry. Some of them even bet all their money and lost everything. Some were happy and some were sad. The gamblers who had bet on Qin Haodong were all happy. Qin Haodong had won and they had all made a lot of money. Anyway, from this moment on, the reputation of the medical sage had spread throughout Hong Kong. Qin Haodong defeated Mei Zhanlong and the Li family was the happiest. Not only did they get rid of a big trouble, but they also made a lot of money. Li Donghua originally wanted to hold a grand celebration banquet, but Qin Haodong refused. He said, "Sir, the matter here is over. I've been in Hong Kong for a while, so there's no need to celebrate. I want to return to Wuxia immediately." Li Donghua said, "It's not easy for you to come to Hong Kong. You should have a good time. Why are you in such a hurry to go back? Qin Haodong said, there's no need. I still have a lot of things to do in Huaxiao. Li Meiyu said with some hidden bitterness, are you really leaving? Qin Haodong said, all good things must come to an end. You can go to Huaxia to find me when you have time. Li Meiyu sighed and said, okay, but can we leave tomorrow? Do me a favor tonight. Qin Haodong thought for a moment, nodded and said, well, we'll leave tomorrow. After resting for an afternoon, Qin Haodong got into Li Meiyu's limousine at 8:00 in the evening. After getting in the car, the driver started the car and they sat in the compartment. Qin Haodong said, where are you taking me? To a banquet. There was a faint trace of worry between Li Meiyu's eyebrows. Qin Haodong said, you said you want me to help you. Is it to attend a banquet? Li Meiyu said with a wry smile, this banquet is very unusual. It's not an exaggeration to say that it's a hongmen banquet. I really can't think of anyone else who can help me except you. Qin Haodong's face turned cold and he asked, what the hell is going on? It's a long story. Let me tell you slowly. Li Meiyu said, where there are businessmen, there are chambers of commerce. In Hong Kong, the largest business department is the Hong Kong Business Association, which controls nearly 90% of the business resources in Hong Kong. Before my family's accident, my grandfather was the president of the Hong Kong Business Association. Later, my grandfather had an accident and was in a coma. During this time, the vice president, Gong Tianmiao, took the opportunity to become the president of the association. Gong Tianmiao has always been plotting against our Li family. After I took over the Li family, he took advantage of my young age and took 3 of our businesses in succession. Moreover, he began to accumulate our stocks in the stock market. In this duel between you and Mei Zhanlong, our Li family bet all our money on you and made a lot of money. If it weren't for this, it would have been really difficult for us to get through this crisis. Qin Haodong did not speak and listened quietly. Li Meiyu continued, in the past few days, Gong Tianmiao has sent people to our house to propose marriage. He wants me to marry his son, Gong Tingfei. Gong Tingfei is a playboy with all kinds of poison. Gong Tianmiao has no good intentions when he proposes marriage. His ultimate goal is to encroach on our Li family's assets through marriage. Qin Haodong said, in that case, you can just refuse directly. Do they dare to rob you? Besides, Zhang Tiniu and the others are by your side. They can't rob you even if they want to. Li Meiyu said, it's impossible to rob me by force. After all, Hong Kong is a legal society. But Gong Tianmiao has always been a schemer. I think today's banquet must have something to do with this matter. Maybe it's his plot. Looking at Li Meiyu's worried face, Qin Haodong felt a burst of pity in his heart. It was really difficult for such a young girl to take charge of such a big family business. He said, don't worry. I'll help you solve the problem of the Gong family before I leave. Haodong, thank you. Looking at Qin Haodong's handsome face, Li Meiyu's eyes were full of love and gratitude. Qin Haodong said, what are you thanking me for? I'm your bodyguard, aren't I? Li Meiyu said with a complicated expression, I want you to be my bodyguard for the rest of your life. Is that okay? Qin Haodong sighed and said, why are you so persistent? I have girlfriends, and there are several of them. I won't give them up for any reason. After a long silence, Li Meiyu said, if I don't care about them, will you accept me? Qin Haodong was moved. It was very rare for this jealous girl to do this. It could be seen that she loved him deeply. There's no need to be so difficult for yourself. Maybe tomorrow you will meet someone else who will move your heart and find a love that belongs completely to you. I won't. I won't do it again. Li Meiyu grabbed Qin Haodong's hand and put it against her heart. No matter what happens to us in the future, this place has been filled by you and there's no room for anyone else. Qin Haodong said, I know your feelings for me, but you can't let go of that obsession in your heart. In this way, we won't be happy together. When you really think it through, come to me. Li Meiyu fell silent. Indeed, she liked Qin Haodong very much, but she couldn't accept the existence of other girls. Her dream was to have a love that belonged to her alone. Qin Haodong said, "Well, let's change the topic." Li Meiyu shook her head as if she wanted to drive away the troubles in her heart. She lowered her head and opened her bag. She took out a check and gave it to Qin Haodong. "This is for you." Qin Haodong took the check and looked at it. It was worth 2 billion yuan. He said, "Why did you give me so much money?" Li Meiyu said, "I bet all the money of the Li family on the battle between you and Mei Zhanlong and made a lot of money. You deserve it." Qin Haodong said, "Forget it. Of course, the money you won belongs to you." Chapter 644. Li Meiyu said, "You've helped our family too much. Without you, there would be no Li family today, so you really deserve this money." Qin Haodong waved his hand and said, "Keep it for me. I'll get it from you when I need it." Li Meiyu said, "You have to take the money anyway. I'll keep it for you until tomorrow at most. If you don't take it, I'll transfer it to Sister Momo." Qin Haodong smiled and said, "It's up to you." At this time, the limousine stopped. Qin Haodong and Li Meiyu got out of the car and saw a magnificent club in front of them. The decoration of this place was extremely luxurious. Only the 7-star hotel in Dubai that he had seen in the video could compare with this place. The strange thing was that there was no sign. Li Meiyu seemed to know what he was thinking and said, "This is the private club of our Hong Kong Chamber of Commerce. It's built according to the standard of a 7-star hotel. It's never open to the public, so there's no sign." Then she took Qin Haodong's arm and they walked into the club together. Although there was still half an hour before the banquet began, there were already many guests here. These people gathered in 2s and 3s, socializing and looking for business opportunities for their own industries. These things seemed annoying, but they had to do it. As the new head of the Li family, Li Meiyu naturally had to build a good relationship with the upper class of Hong Kong. Li Meiyu knew that Qin Haodong didn't like these things, so she said, "Haodong, sit here for a while. I'll be back soon." "It's okay. Go ahead." Li Meiyu nodded to him apologetically and then joined those people with a glass of wine. This was a buffet party, and the clubhouse had prepared a lot of delicious food. Qin Haodong chose some of his favorite food with a plate and a glass of red wine. Then he chose a quiet corner and leisurely enjoyed the food on the plate. While he was eating, a familiar figure suddenly appeared in front of him. It was Ouyang Shanshan, who had come to Hong Kong to participate in a commercial performance. He didn't expect to meet her here. At this moment, Ouyang Shanshan's face was very ugly and she hurried over. Behind her was a middle-aged man in his 40s. The man was wearing a famous brand suit, a pair of gold-rimmed glasses and a gold watch on his wrist. He was dressed in a completely upper-class outfit, but there was an extremely annoying look in his eyes. Pervert. The middle-aged man didn't notice Qin Haodong in the corner. He grabbed Ouyang Shanshan's arm and said, "Shanshan, don't be a child. We can't afford to offend young Master Gong. Besides, it's just having a drink with him. What's so difficult about that?" Ouyang Shanshan yelled angrily, "Mr. Liang, didn't you see that the playboy insisted on drinking with me?" The middle-aged man said, "Shanshan, we're all gangsters. It's just a joke. Why take it so seriously? Come back with me now, apologize to young Master Gong, and drink a cup of wine happily. There's still room for redemption." Ouyang Shanshan said, "That's impossible. I won't apologize to him, let alone drink wine with him." The middle-aged man's face darkened and he said coldly, "Ouyang Shanshan, don't forget that you're just an artist of the company. You're not some high and mighty saint. You have to obey the company's arrangement. Today, you have to go, even if you don't want to. Ouyang Shanshan said angrily, why? I'm just an artist of the company, not a prostitute. I won't do such a dirty thing no matter what. The middle-aged man seemed to have completely lost his patience. He said with a sarcastic face, we're all in this circle. Why are you pretending to be a chaste girl? To tell you the truth, young Master Gong likes you and wants to sleep with you. If you want to be in this circle, you have to be slept with by him. There's no reason for that. Liang Kachin, your bullsh T. Ouyang Shanshan was also angry. She even cursed, which was rare for her. I'm telling you, although I'm an artist of Xingtian Entertainment Company now, we signed a free contract. I can leave at any time. Leave? Liang Kachin sneered and then said proudly, you underestimate my power in the entertainment circle. As long as you leave, I can guarantee that no entertainment company will dare to sign a contract with you. By then, even if you completely leave the entertainment circle, even if you're a popular star now, you'll be forgotten by the society in a few years. You still want to be a star? Dream on. Ouyang Shanshan said coldly, that's none of your business. From now on, I officially terminate the contract with your company. I have nothing to do with you anymore. Liang Kachin was slightly stunned. He thought that Ouyang Shanshan was just joking. He didn't expect that this woman would really terminate the contract with his company. He had been in the entertainment circle for so many years and had slept with countless women, but he had never seen such a tough female star. Bitch, where do you think this is? This is Hong Kong, and it's my world. You can't leave as you like. You must satisfy young Master Gong today. Liang Kachin said and reached out to grab Ouyang Shanshan's arm. At this moment, a cold voice came from beside him, take your hands off me. Liang Kachin thought that there was no one here, but he was startled by the voice behind him. He looked back and saw a young man standing there with a cold face. Haodong. Ouyang Shanshan also saw Qin Haodong. She didn't expect to meet the man she had been thinking about day and night here. She couldn't control the grievance in her heart anymore. She threw herself into Qin Haodong's arms and burst into tears. Seeing that the woman he had been thinking about for a long time had thrown herself into another man's arms, Liang Kachin's eyes flashed with malice. He asked coldly, who are you, boy? He didn't take Qin Haodong seriously at all since he was wearing ordinary clothes. Qin Haodong ignored him and raised his hand to wipe the tears from Ouyang Shanshan's eyes. He asked, what the hell is going on? Aren't you in Duku Entertainment Company? Why are you in Xingtian Entertainment Company? Could it be that Lu Huaqiang sold you out? As he spoke, there was a flash of uncontrollable anger in his eyes. Ouyang Shanshan calmed herself down and said, it's not what you think. Lu Huaqiang had no choice. After listening to her, Qin Haodong understood what was going on. It turned out that Lu Huaqiang had been very lascivious. He had placed his lover in the company to work as a financial officer. However, the woman suddenly took all the money in his account a few days ago and ran away with a toy boy. The sudden failure of the capital chain caused Lu Huaqiang's Duku Entertainment Company to go bankrupt. He had no choice but to sell the company to Xingtian Entertainment in Hong Kong, and the boss of Xingtian Entertainment was Liang Kachin. Ouyang Shanshan added, in fact, Lu Huaqiang is a good man. He terminated my contract with the company before he sold the company. Now I'm completely free and no longer bound by any contract. Liang Kachin, who was next to her, sneered again and said, what a brainless woman. I've told you that the bullsh T contract is useless. As long as I say it, no entertainment company will dare to sign a contract with you. At that time, you can only go home and take care of your children. Qin Haodong glanced at him and said to Ouyang Shanshan, since no company dares to give you money, let's not sign a contract. Liang Kachin said sarcastically, I thought you found a big backer. It turns out that he wants you to quit the entertainment industry. It's not easy for you to accumulate popularity in the entertainment industry over the years. Once you quit, all your previous efforts will be in vain. It's impossible for you to come back. Qin Haodong said, our previous efforts can't be in vain. How about this? Let's invest in an entertainment company. You can be the boss and do whatever you want. You don't have to be looked down upon by others anymore. Liang Kaqin sneered and said, Toy boy, do you think opening an entertainment company is like opening a snack bar? Hundreds of thousands of yuan is enough. People like you can't even think about it in this life. Ouyang Shanshan said in a low voice, that's right, Haodong. Although I've saved some money over the years, it's still far from enough to open an entertainment company. Qin Haodong asked, then tell me, how much does it cost to open an entertainment company? Ouyang Shanshan said, even the most ordinary entertainment company would cost 500 million yuan. An entertainment company like Xingtian would cost at least 1.5 billion yuan. Liang Kaqin sneered and said, did you hear that, toy boy? 1.5 billion yuan is not 15 yuan. I'm afraid you've never seen so much money in your life, have you? At this time, many people at the banquet looked over. Li Meiyu also found that something was wrong and walked back. Seeing the young lady of the Li family coming over, Liang Kaqin quickly said with a flattering face, hello, Miss Li. Li Meiyu ignored him and turned to Qin Haodong and said, Haodong, what's going on? At the same time, he saw Ouyang Shanshan and quickly said, Sister Shanshan, why are you here? Nothing. Shanshan met a dog. Qin Haodong said to Li Meiyu, where's the 2 billion yuan? Give it to me. Oh, here it is. Li Meiyu didn't know why Qin Haodong suddenly wanted the money, but she still took out the check from her bag. Qin Haodong took the check and gave it to Ouyang Shanshan. This is 2 billion yuan. You can open an entertainment company with it. You'll be the boss in the future and you won't have to listen to dogs anymore. Well. Haodong, is this appropriate? Ouyang Shanshan didn't expect that Qin Haodong would suddenly take out so much money. She was at a loss for a moment. Qin Haodong said, why not? It's my investment. We'll each have half of the shares. Liang Kaqin was completely dumbfounded. Although his Xingtian entertainment company was worth 1.5 billion yuan, it was a joint venture of several people and there were several major shareholders in addition to him. However, this toy boy in front of him suddenly took out so much money and opened an entertainment company. Were all rich people so capricious? Who the hell was he? Chapter 645. Li Meiyu had almost figured out what was going on. She said to Liang Kaqin with a cold face, are you that annoying dog? Although he was insulted by Li Meiyu in public, Liang Kaqin did not dare to get angry at all. He was just a small boss of a film and television company with a market value of several billion yuan. How could he be compared with Miss Li, who was worth hundreds of billion yuan? As long as Li Meiyu wanted to, she could make his company go bankrupt in minutes. He said with a flattering face, Miss Li, you misunderstood me. This is really a misunderstanding. I didn't know that this gentleman is your friend. If I had known, I would not have dared to disrespect him. Li Meiyu turned to Qin Haodong and asked, Haodong, what do you want to do with him? Seeing that his fate was in Qin Haodong's hands, Liang Kaqin quickly bowed and said, Mr. Qin, I'm really sorry. You are a generous man. Please let me go. Seeing his mean face, Qin Haodong felt disgusted. He waved his hand and said, get out of here. Don't let me see you again. Li Meiyu turned around and said, did you hear that? Get out of here. I'll get out now. I'll get out now. After Liang Kaqin finished speaking, he ran away dejectedly. Although he had seen the video of the battle between Qin Haodong and Mei Zhanlong, Qin Haodong had cast some illusion on his face, so it was impossible to connect him with the person in the video. Therefore, Liang Kachin only thought that he was Li Meiyu's toy boy. At this moment, a few sparse claps rang out. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound and saw a young man in his 30s coming over. The young man was wearing a handmade suit designed by an Italian master. His hair was meticulously combed, but from his weak footsteps and the two big panda eyes on his face, it could be seen that this guy was obviously hollowed out by wine and women. Young Master Gong, it's young Master Gong. The onlookers made way for him. This young man was Gong Tingfei, the son of Gong Tianmiao, the president of the Chamber of Commerce. Gong Tingfei walked into the crowd with a proud face. He came to Qin Haodong, glanced at him and said, "Boy, you're living off a woman." Before Qin Haodong could speak, Li Meiyu said with a sullen face, "Gong Tingfei, what nonsense are you talking about?" Gong Tingfei turned around and said to her, "Li Meiyu, I really underestimated you. You actually used 2 billion yuan to support a toy boy. Does your old man know about this?" Li Meiyu said angrily, "Nonsense. You're the gigolo. Your whole family are gigolos." Gong Tingfei's expression changed. "You're actually talking to me like this because of a pretty boy?" Li Meiyu was about to lose her temper when Qin Haodong took 2 steps forward and said to her, "Meiyu, you're wrong about this. He's so small that he can only last for dozens of seconds. How can he be a gigolo?" Gong Tingfei has been worrying about his early retirement. To vent his distress, Qin Haodong's words had directly poked his Achilles heel. He immediately shouted hysterically, "Boy, do you know who you're talking to?" Qin Haodong said coldly, "Do you know who you're talking to?" In order to avoid trouble, he would cast a little illusion on his face when he took photos and videos. But now he realized that there was a flaw in doing so. If this guy knew his identity, he would not dare to be so arrogant. "I don't care who you are." Gong Tingfei shouted arrogantly, "This is the Gong family's territory. You'd better lie down if you're a dragon or a tiger." Qin Haodong sneered and said, "The Gong family is nothing in my eyes. Boy, you're so arrogant. Do you know what will happen to you if you offend me in Hong Kong?" When Gong Tingfei was about to ask someone to teach Qin Haodong a lesson, someone at the front desk shouted, "Tingfei, come here. The banquet is about to begin." At this time, there was a middle-aged man in his 50s standing at the front desk. He was the host of today's banquet and the new president of the Hong Kong Chamber of Commerce, Gong Tianmiao. Gong Tingfei looked back and waved to his father, indicating that he would go there right away. Then he walked to Qin Haodong's ear and whispered, "Boy, let me tell you, Li Meiyu is my woman and I want that big star. I'll play with them to death in bed sooner or later. Later on, I'll get someone to break your limbs. When that time comes, I'll let you have a good look at how your woman will feel like dying because of me." Then he smiled sinisterly, turned around and walked to the front desk. Qin Haodong looked at his back and a strong murderous intent rose from the bottom of his heart. At this moment, he had listed Gong Tingfei as a person he must kill. Just at that moment, he felt 7 or 8 resentment from Gong Tingfei. These were the resentment left by the women who had been tortured to death by him. Although their souls had been reincarnated, the resentment would not disappear in a short time. It turned out that because of Gong Tingfei's defects in that aspect, he had a perverted need for women, which was to abuse them crazily. He longed to see women beg for mercy in pain. Because of this perverted hobby, many women had been tortured to death by him. But because of the huge financial resources of the Gong family, all of this was covered up quietly. After Gong Tingfei came on the stage, he stood side by side with Gong Tianmiao. Gong Tianmiao's face was full of pride. He held the microphone and said to the audience, "My friends, welcome to the reception held by me today. In fact, today's reception is not just to bring everyone together. There is an important thing that I want to let my friends witness." His words aroused the curiosity of the guests. They did not know what this financial tycoon wanted to do. As a woman, Li Meiyu had a bad feeling. What Gong Tianmiao said seemed to have something to do with her. At this time, an etiquette lady immediately brought a large bouquet of roses, in the middle of which was a shiny diamond ring. Gong Tianmiao said, "Everyone, today is the day that my son, Tingfei, will propose to Miss Li. Please bear witness to their love." Hearing that Gong Tingfei was going to propose to Li Meiyu, the guests were slightly stunned at first, and then they applauded warmly. Although they applauded, they shook their heads in their hearts. They had more or less heard about Gong Tingfei's character. It was a pity that Li Meiyu, a talented and beautiful woman, was going to marry him. When the applause faded, Gong Tianmiao said to the audience, "Niece Meiyu, today's banquet is specially prepared for you. Please come to the front desk." Although Li Meiyu was in charge of hundreds of billions of yuan, she was only a girl in her early 20s. She was at a loss when she encountered this kind of thing. She could not help looking at Qin Haodong nervously. "Don't be afraid. I'm here. These small fries can't do anything. I'll go with you." Then Qin Haodong walked to the front desk hand in hand with Li Meiyu. This time, the expressions of all the guests changed. Gong Tianmiao publicly announced that he would propose to Li Meiyu, but Li Meiyu walked to the front desk holding another man's arm. It was obvious that she did not want to give face to the Gong family. Now there was a good show to watch. As expected, the faces of the Gong family on the stage became extremely ugly. However, Gong Tianmiao was a cunning guy after all. He soon calmed down and raised his hand to stop Gong Tingfei, who was about to lose his temper. He said to Li Meiyu with a fake smile, "Niece Meiyu, who is this?" "Your friend." Li Meiyu said, "Uncle Gong, he is my boyfriend." Gong Tianmiao's eyebrows twitched. Then he said with a sinister smile, "Niece Meiyu, no matter what your relationship is now, I think Tingfei is the most suitable man for you. You two are a match made in heaven." Li Meiyu shook her head and said, "Uncle Gong, I don't think so." Seeing that Li Meiyu did not give face to him again and again, the smile on Gong Tianmiao's face completely disappeared. "Niece Meiyu, now that your father is old, it's not easy for you to support such a big family business alone. If you can marry Tingfei, the Gong family can also help you. If you insist on doing things your own way, I'm afraid that no one in the whole Hong Kong will dare to do business with your family in the future." As he spoke, the threat was obvious. The implication was that if Li Meiyu did not agree to Gong Tingfei's proposal, he would cut off all economic relations with the Li family in the future. This was not a proposal, but an outright forced marriage. He wanted to use the Gong family's economic status in the whole Hong Kong to force Li Meiyu to give in. Gong Tianmiao did think so. He had become the president of the Hong Kong Business Association, and with the Gong family's strong commercial strength and influence, it was a good opportunity to attack the Li family. The Li family had many old and young people. Li Dongguo was a big man when he was young, but now he was dying. Otherwise, he would not be in a hurry to hand over such a big family business to a young girl like Li Meiyu. In his opinion, in order to protect the Li family business, Li Meiyu had to compromise. As long as she could unite with the Li family by marriage, they would have the opportunity to annex the Li family's property in the future. At that time, the Gong family would become the first family in Hong Kong. But to his surprise, Li Meiyu was still unmoved. She said calmly, "Uncle Gong, I don't think so. My boyfriend can also help our family." "Your boyfriend?" Gong Tianmiao smiled disdainfully and said, "Meiyu, you'd better wake up. I really can't think of what such a young man can do for your family. What qualifications does he have to be compared with our Gong family? Uncle Gong, if you know his name, I'm afraid you won't say that." Gong Tianmiao said with a sarcastic smile, "Then tell me, what's his name? See if you can scare me." He did not think that Qin Haodong had a powerful background because he knew all the children of the big families in Hong Kong. The person in front of him was a complete stranger. Except that he was a little handsome, there was nothing special about him. Li Meiyu said, his name is Qin Haodong, and he is nicknamed Medical Sage. Just this morning, he defeated Mei Zhanlong, the #1 magic caster in Hong Kong. His voice was not loud, but after he finished speaking, the whole banquet was boiling. What? He is Qin Haodong. No wonder he looks familiar. He does look like the person in the video. So he is Medical Sage. What a great young man, no wonder Li Meiyu dared to refuse the Gong family. It turns out that she has found such a powerful backer. Chapter 646. Gong Tianmiao and his son were shocked when they heard that the young man in front of them was the Medical Sage. As Hong Kong people, they naturally knew about the battle between Qin Haodong and Mei Zhanlong. But recently, Gong Tianmiao had been busy taking over as the business president, and all his energy was used to obtain business benefits for the Gong family. He paid little attention to Qin Haodong and didn't know his relationship with the Li family. It was not until Qin Haodong defeated Mei Zhanlong that he knew that there was such a powerful man in Hong Kong. As for Gong Tingfei, all his energy was on women and he didn't care about men at all. He only knew Qin Haodong's name after he lost 100 million Hong Kong dollars on Mei Zhanlong. After the shock, Gong Tianmiao quickly calmed down. He was a man who had been through a lot. Although Qin Haodong defeated Mei Zhanlong, he didn't think this young man was very scary. After all, he was just an outsider and had no foundation in Hong Kong. In this respect, there was no comparison at all. It could be said that Master Mei had a lot of followers in Hong Kong. As long as he waved his hand, everyone would stand on his side. If Mei Zhanlong forbade everyone from doing business with the Gong family, they could only go out and beg, but Qin Haodong obviously didn't have this ability. Therefore, although he was shocked, he didn't have much fear in his heart. No wonder Meiyu is so stubborn. It turns out that she has found such a big backer. Speaking of this, Gong Tianmiao changed the topic. But you have to think about it. No matter how powerful the Medical Sage is, he can't influence the business circle of Hong Kong. As long as I say a word, your Li family will have no business in the future. Qin Haodong pulled Meiyu behind him. He looked at Gong Tianmiao and said, believe it or not, as long as I say a word, no one in Hong Kong will dare to do business with your Gong family. They won't even have any contact with your Gong family. Ha! 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 Gong Tianmiao laughed as if he had heard the funniest joke. After laughing enough, he said, young man, you're still too naive. Our Gong family has been operating in Hong Kong for so many years. We have a wide network and a deep foundation. How can you, an outsider, shake us? If it was Master Mei Zhanlong, I might be afraid, but you can't. Qin Haodong's expression was still calm. But don't forget, Mei Zhanlong has already been defeated by me. So what? Hong Kong is a law-abiding society. Even if you defeated Master Mei, you wouldn't dare to kill us. It was Gong Tingfei who said that with a sarcastic face. He didn't take Qin Haodong seriously at all. Master Mei was like an immortal, but the young man in front of him didn't look like a master at all. Gong Tingfei wondered if the bet was fake. Looking at this impotent pervert, Qin Haodong suddenly burst out a strong killing intent and said sternly, it's easier for me to kill you than killing an ant. Gong Tingfei was just an arrogant and despotic hedonistic son of a rich family. Usually, he relied on the power of his family to bully the weak. When had he ever seen such a strong killing intent? He suddenly felt a chill from the top of his head to the toes, and a great fear rose from the bottom of his heart. He looked at Qin Haodong in horror and said in a trembling voice, don't mess around. This is a legal society. You have to pay with your life if you kill someone. Just as he said this, he felt his heart beating faster and faster, almost out of control, as if it was going to jump out of his throat. Dad, help me. Hurry up and help me. Gong Tingfei felt the fear of death. He grabbed Gong Tianmiao's arm, but soon there was a cracking sound in his mind, as if it was the sound of his heart breaking. Then his hands drooped down and he fell to the ground with a plop. "Doctor, where's the doctor?" Gong Qianmiao didn't expect this to happen, so he hurriedly called the doctor in a panic. Hearing his cry, 2 healthcare doctors of the club rushed over. After carefully checking Gong Tingfei's condition, the leading healthcare doctor said to Gong Qianmiao with regret, "I'm sorry, Mr. Gong. The young master's heart stopped beating and his pupils are dilated. There's no need to save him." How is this possible?" Gong Qianmiao asked in panic, "How did my son die?" The leading healthcare doctor said, "Judging from the young master's symptoms, he should have died of a myocardial infarction." At this moment, everyone's eyes were focused on Qin Haodong and a chill rose from the bottom of their hearts. This young man had killed Gong Tingfei with just his eyes. This kind of ability was really terrible. Even Mei Zhanlong could not do it. Of course, Qin Haodong did not kill Gong Tingfei with his eyes. After reaching the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm, his genuine qi could be released within a range of about 10 meters. Just now, he used his qi to control Gong Tingfei's heartbeat, thus causing Gong Tingfei's heart to beat too fast and die. Gong Qianmiao turned around, looked at Qin Haodong and shouted, "Did you kill my son?" Qin Haodong said, "He wanted to die." Gong Qianmiao's eyes were red and he shouted, "Bastard, how dare you kill my son? Now we are in a legal society. I want you to go to jail. I want you to pay with your life." Qin Haodong said indifferently, "You're right. Now we are in a legal society. The police need evidence. Just now, everyone saw that I was so far away from your son and I didn't even move a finger. I'm afraid the police won't believe me if you say that I killed him." Gong Qianmiao's expression froze. At this moment, he realized how terrible the young man in front of him was. He had clearly killed his son in front of him, but he could not find any evidence. Just now, the healthcare doctor had given the diagnosis of myocardial infarction. Even if he called the police now, the police would not think that Qin Haodong was guilty. Qin Haodong said, "Mr. Gong, I advise you not to get excited. Cardiovascular and cerebrovascular diseases are generally hereditary. I'm afraid that you will get sick together with your son. Think about it, the Gong family has such a big family business. If both of you die, who will benefit from it?" Realizing the meaning of his words, the anger in Gong Qianmiao's heart was instantly replaced by fear. This young man could kill his son quietly, and he could also kill him. It was impossible to guard against Qin Haodong's means and he would not leave any traces. As Qin Haodong had just said, killing them was easier than killing ants. This young man was really terrible. It was not an accident that he defeated the #1 master in Hong Kong. His ability to kill people with his eyes was definitely 100 times better than Mei Zhanlong's. After thinking about this, the more he thought about it, the more frightened he became. He was afraid that Qin Haodong would look at him again, so he quickly bowed and hid under the table. He was trembling all over and did not even have the courage to show his face again. Seeing that the president of the Chamber of Commerce was so scared, the others also realized this and stepped back one after another, for fear that Qin Haodong would kill them with a single glance. In the past, they had been in awe of Mei Zhanlong's magic, but they had never reached this level. At this moment, Qin Haodong was no different from a demon in their hearts. Qin Haodong glanced around and said, "I'm a man of my word. I've just said that from today on, no one is allowed to do business with the Gong family. If anyone dares to violate this rule, I don't mind going to his house." As he spoke, a powerful aura burst forth from his body. Under the pressure of his primordial spirit, boundless reverence rose in everyone's hearts. It was as if the young man's words were an imperial edict, an order that no one dared to disobey. Gong Qianmiao lay under the table and wailed in his heart. He knew that the Gong family was completely finished. With this sentence, no one dared to do business with them in the future. Qin Haodong took Li Meiyu's hand and said, "From now on, I'll be the backer of the Li family." I welcome you to do normal business with the Li family. I won't say anything about normal business competition, but if anyone dares to use any dirty means, I don't mind destroying his family. Then he waved his hand and called Ouyang Shanshan, who was stunned, over. This is my friend and my partner. I'm going to open an entertainment company in Hong Kong and Ouyang Shanshan will be in charge of it. This is my company. If anyone wants to make trouble, I advise you to prepare your own grave in advance. There was complete silence. No one dared to make a single sound. The powerful pressure from the soul had already left an indelible mark in their hearts. Whether it was the Li family or Ouyang Shanshan, they were definitely not people they could afford to offend. Liang Kachin hid in the corner. Originally, he wanted to find a chance to take revenge on Ouyang Shanshan, but now he completely dispelled the idea. Even if he was given 100 guts, he would not dare to touch Ouyang Shanshan again. After that, there was no need for Qin Haodong to stay any longer. He left the banquet with Li Meiyu and Ouyang Shanshan. After they went out, Ouyang Shanshan said to Qin Haodong, "Haodong, thank you." In the eyes of others, she was a glamorous star, but in fact, only she knew how much she had suffered behind the scenes. Now the man in front of her had completely changed her fate. In the future, she would no longer be a simple entertainer. She would have her own entertainment company and become the boss. From now on, she would no longer have to worry about the unspoken rules, accompany others to drink, or be subservient to others. Moreover, with Qin Haodong's power just now, she believed that no one in Hong Kong would dare to make trouble for her. There's nothing to thank me for. Call me if you need anything in the future. Qin Haodong waved goodbye to Ouyang Shanshan and then got into Li Meiyu's limousine. After getting in the car, Li Meiyu looked at the man in front of her with a complicated expression. Originally, she knew that the father and son of the Gong family were up to no good, so she wanted to use Qin Haodong to get through this. She didn't expect that Qin Haodong not only helped her solve the problem, but also solved it so thoroughly. From now on, the Li family would have a new future in Hong Kong. Qin Haodong looked at her with a smile and said, "Are you going to thank me too?" Li Meiyu gritted her teeth and said in a low voice, "Let's go get a room." Chapter 647. While speaking, Li Meiyu lowered her head. It was the first time she had said such words to a man. Her cheeks blushed like a ripe apple. Qin Haodong reached out to hold her cheek, kissed her gently on the forehead, and said, "Why are you doing this? Let's talk about it when you make a decision." Li Meiyu did not speak. She knew the distance between them. Even if she really let go and could accept his girlfriends, so what? Qin Haodong was not an ordinary person. He could not stay in Hong Kong forever because of her. Now she was shouldering the responsibility of the Holy Family, so she could not stay with Qin Haodong all the time. All the things in Hong Kong had been settled. The next day, Qin Haodong, Nailan Wushuang, and Feng Wu got on the plane back to Wuxia. After getting off the plane, Qin Haodong asked Nailan Wushuang and Feng Wu to go home first, and he went to Lin's jewelry alone. In the blink of an eye, he had been away from Shanghai for 10 days, and his heart was full of missing Lin Momo. He did not call Lin Momo, but came here quietly. It was the noon break time, and there were not many people walking in the whole office building. He came to the door of the president's office, gently opened the door, and quietly walked in. Lin Momo did not rest. She stood in front of the file cabinet, looking for something. Qin Haodong put his arms around her slender waist from behind and kissed her hard on the cheek. "Girl, why don't you take a rest at noon? Why are you working so hard?" Lin Momo's body was tense at first, but then she felt the breath of this man and relaxed. She turned around and said to Qin Haodong in surprise, "You're back. Why didn't you call me in advance?" Qin Haodong still put his arms around her slender waist, put his forehead on hers, and said with a smile, "I wanted to make a surprise attack. I wanted to see if there was a gigolo behind your man's back. You're a gigolo. Who else would I look for? Being held tightly by Qin Haodong, and hearing the words, your man, Lin Momo felt her blood getting hotter and her cheeks getting redder and redder. In that case, I'll give you a good reward. Qin Haodong kissed her hard, and his two big hands also launched a crazy attack. Due to various reasons, he and Lin Momo hadn't done this kind of thing for a long time. Both of them were like dry firewood and raging fire. The slightest spark would ignite them. After a long time, Lin Momo pushed him away and said breathlessly, don't mess around. This is the office. However, what Qin Haodong wanted was the office. During this time, Lin Momo had been busy with work. The two of them had no time to go out and get a room. There was always an elf-like little fellow at home. It was the right time to look for the office. Moreover, this kind of thing would be different if they changed the venue. He locked the door of the office and rushed into the suite with Lin Momo in his arms. Under her man's fierce attack, Lin Momo had no strength at all. She couldn't resist at all and let him do whatever he wanted. Along the way, the two of them were wearing less and less clothes. When they threw themselves on the bed, they were already naked. For the whole afternoon, the two of them were busy on the bed. First, they were like dry firewood and raging fire to relieve the pain of lovesickness. Then, Qin Haodong set up a restriction in the room to help Lin Momo improve her cultivation. With the magic cultivation method of double cultivation initiation, Lin Momo also reached the 9th level of Supreme Power Realm after 2 hours. Qin Haodong was very satisfied with this result. The top families in the capital only had 2 9th level Supreme Power Realm experts, but now he had a total of 4. Moreover, this was not the end. There would be more and more. If Hu Shaoxian, Nalan Wuxia and Yagi Yukaim of Neon were included, he could gather 7 9th level Supreme Power Realm experts. This strength was enough for him to look down on the 7 great families in the capital. Thinking of Hu Shaoxian, this little fox-like woman had suddenly lost contact recently. He couldn't get through to her on the phone, and he didn't know where she had gone. When it was almost time to get off work, the door of Lin Momo's president's office opened and Qin Haodong came out. Lin Momo didn't leave with him. She had delayed her work for the whole afternoon. There were a lot of things that had to be dealt with today, so she had to hurry back. After leaving Lin's jewelry, Qin Haodong thought about it and took a taxi to the Shanghai Medical College. Some time ago, he was in a hurry to go to Hong Kong. Although Lin Momo had already helped him to drop out of school, Ji Fubao and the others still didn't know what was going on. After all, they were brothers, so it was better to say hello. When he arrived at the Shanghai Medical College, he got out of the car and strolled to the classroom. When the bell rang, Ji Fubao and the others rushed out of the classroom. When they saw Qin Haodong, they were slightly stunned and then rushed to him. Ji Fubao held Qin Haodong in his arms and kissed him on the cheek with his thick lips. "Boss, where have you been these days? Why didn't you say hello? I thought you were captured and sold to Thailand to do a special job." Qin Haodong pushed him away and wiped the saliva on his cheek. "Damn fatty, stay away from me. If you want to be gay, go find Tian Buguang." Tian Buguang pulled Qin Haodong's arm and cried, "Yes, boss, where have you been these days? After you left, several campus belles in our class also disappeared. Did you elope with them?" There were 4 people in their dormitory, and only Dai Hongbing behaved normally. He stood next to them with a silly smile. Qin Haodong said, "You haven't eaten yet, right? Let's find a place to eat and talk. It's my treat today. You can eat whatever you want." Ji Fubao cried, "That's great. I can't eat well without you at home these days. I'll have a good meal today." They entered a hotel at the school gate, ordered a table of wine and dishes, and began to eat and drink. After 2 glasses of wine, Ji Fubao asked, "Boss, where have you been these days?" Qin Haodong said, "I went to Hong Kong." Tian Buguang looked at him and asked, "Boss, why did the 3 campus belles in our class leave as soon as you left? Did you really elope with them?" At this point, Qin Haodong didn't want to hide it from them. He briefly told them about his situation with Nailan Wushuang and Qi Wan, her. He also said that Li Meiyu had returned to Hong Kong and the girls would never come back. After listening to him, Tian Buguang said with a surprised face, "Boss, you are so inhumane. It turns out that all the campus belles in our class have been abducted by you." Ji Fubao said, "Fortunately, you left Su Hui with us. But after you left, Su Hui seemed to be in a bad mood in class. She often missed classes and didn't come to class today." When it came to Su Hui, Qin Haodong could only sigh secretly. He knew that the girl was interested in him, but he couldn't drink all of it. Sometimes it was good for both of them to keep a little distance. Tian Buguang continued, "It hasn't been easy for us recently. Since the last exchange with Koryo, we don't know where the first campus belles, Feng Wu, have gone. Only the sexy campus belles, Li Jumei, are left in the top 5. Qin Haodong said, "Why do you care so much? It has nothing to do with you whether she's here or not." "Boss, you're wrong." Ji Fubao said righteously, "You don't know the hunger of the hungry. Although we can't find a girlfriend like the campus belles, it's good to see her. But now, we don't even have a chance to see her." Qin Haodong really didn't know what to say about this topic. He couldn't say that the first campus belles, Feng Wu, was at his home. Dai Hongbing, who had been silent, said, "Okay, it's rare for us 4 brothers to get together. Let's drink." After that, they chatted while eating. Qin Haodong also explained his situation to everyone and said goodbye. When they heard that the boss would not come to school again, they were all quite sad. In the end, Ji Fubao and Tian Buguang were carried back to the dormitory by Qin Haodong and Dai Hongbing. When they came out of the dormitory, the moon was already high above the willow tree. Qin Haodong was walking forward when suddenly a delicate fragrance came over him. A charming voice said in his ear, "Handsome, do you want to date?" Qin Haodong turned his head and looked. This person was the sexy campus belles, Li Jumei, whom Tian Buguang had just mentioned. "What a coincidence. I didn't expect to meet you here." Li Jumei giggled and her chest rose and fell dramatically. "Handsome, if I say that I've been looking for you, would you believe it?" Qin Haodong said, "I don't believe it." "Why are you looking for me?" "Of course, I want to do something that adults should do." Li Jumei said in his ear, "How about it? Do you want to have sex with me?" Qin Haodong was speechless. He really didn't know what this woman wanted to do. Every time they met, she would tease him, but he had a reaction. He said with a wry smile, "Tell me, what do you want to do?" "Nothing. You stood me up on our last date. This time, you have to make up for it." Li Jumei said as she hugged his arm. Her sexy body was tightly attached to him. She said with a charming smile, "Since you're not used to being too direct, let's go to a movie first and slowly cultivate our relationship." Qin Haodong said, "We're not very familiar with each other, and I have something to do. I really don't have time to go to a movie with you." Li Jumei rolled her eyes at him and said in a resentful tone, "It's your fault that we're not familiar with each other. If you hadn't stood me up, we might have had a very deep understanding of each other. So you have to accompany me to a movie today, or I'll sue you for molestation." Qin Haodong glanced at her. Although this woman seemed to be open-minded, she was actually still a virgin. She must have other purposes for contacting him like this. Out of curiosity, he said, "Well, I'll accompany you to a movie." Chapter 648. "Well, let's go." Li Jumei took Qin Haodong's arm and they walked out of the campus like a couple. Then they took a taxi and went to a cinema in Shanghai. Qin Haodong was about to buy a ticket when Li Jumei grabbed his arm and cried, "I want to eat popcorn." It's a perfect match for watching a movie. Wait, I'll buy it for you. Qin Haodong asked Li Jiumei to stand there and he ran to the stall next to him to buy a large bucket of popcorn. His family was poor in the past and he had never eaten this kind of thing. He grabbed a few popcorn and put it into his mouth. It was sweet and fragrant and tasted really good. Wait here, I'll buy the tickets. Qin Haodong asked Li Jiumei to wait in front of the door and he ran to the ticket office to buy the tickets. It was the peak time for watching a movie. After waiting for a while, he bought 2 movie tickets, but when he returned to the original place, Li Jiumei was nowhere to be seen. Where is she? Where did she go? Did this girl ask me out to watch a movie just to swindle a bucket of popcorn from me? Qin Haodong looked around and suddenly saw the scattered popcorn. Then he looked in the direction and saw 3 big men carrying a sack in the distance. They were walking forward in a hurry, and the sack kept squirming. It was obvious that there was a person inside. Oh, no, this girl has been caught. Thinking of this, he immediately chased after them. The 3 big men were all extremely rugged. They were 190 meters tall and weighed no less than 100 kilograms. The big man in the middle was carrying a sack and walking forward in a hurry. Stop! Suddenly, a young man appeared in front of them. Qin Haodong had already felt the aura in the sack and was sure that it was Li Jiumei. He glanced at the 3 men again. These 3 big guys had reached the 5th level of the covert power. No wonder they could kidnap Li Jiumei silently. Toy boy, what are you doing? The big man carrying the sack said in a rough voice. Qin Haodong did not know the specific situation, so he was not in a hurry to take action. He said, let her go and then get out of here. When the big man saw that Qin Haodong was here to ask for Qin Haodong, he immediately shouted to his 2 companions next to him, Lao Er and Lao San, this guy wants to rob us. Let's break his bones. The 2 burly men agreed and stretched out their fan-like hands to grab him. With Qin Haodong's current cultivation, he didn't care about these 2 people at all. He kicked both of them away. Before the burly man in the middle could react, he grabbed the sack and sent him flying with a kick. Since it was downtown, Qin Haodong didn't want to make too much noise. Before people could react, he had already disappeared with the sack. The 3 burly men crawled up from the ground, wanting to fight to the death, but they were nowhere to be seen. After finding a quiet place, Qin Haodong opened the sack and let Li Jiumei out. He removed the towel stuffed in her mouth and the rope tied around her body. What do you think? Are you okay? Qin Haodong asked. I'm fine. It's just a pity for the bucket of popcorn. Li Jiumei stood up and moved her limbs. She found that there was a piece of popcorn hidden in the ravine of her chest. She took it out and put it in her mouth, eating it happily. Qin Haodong was speechless. This girl was really a foodie. She had just been kidnapped, but she still wanted to eat popcorn. Who the hell are they? A strange look flashed across Li Jiumei's face, but she soon calmed down and said, I don't know. Maybe they are kidnappers who like me. Qin Haodong said, but I feel that these 3 people don't seem to be malicious to you. Who knows? Anyway, I don't know them. Li Jiumei said, since you saved me, I have to thank you. I don't want to watch the movie. I'll treat you to dinner. Forget it. If there's nothing else, I'll go back. For some reason, Qin Haodong always felt that there was something wrong with what happened today. No, even if you want to go, you have to send me back first. Li Jiumei said pitifully, what if the 3 bad guys still follow me after you leave? I'm a weak woman. Won't I suffer a lot? Well, I'll send you home first. Qin Haodong and Li Jiumei got in a taxi. 10 minutes later, they arrived at a residential area. After getting out of the car, he asked, don't you live in the dormitory? No, it's not convenient to live alone in the dormitory. Come up with me and have a look at my home. I have something to tell you. Li Jiumei did not allow Qin Haodong to refuse. She took him upstairs. This was an apartment building. Although the area was not too large, only about 50 or 60 square meters, the room was very clean, mainly in pink, and the decoration was very warm. Qin Haodong still felt a little strange sharing a room with such a sexy girl. He said, "What's the matter? Hurry up and tell me. I have to go back after that." "What's the hurry? What else can you do in the middle of the night?" Li Jiumei said as she poured a glass of water and sent it to him. "Drink a glass of water first. I'm going to take a bath. I was just stuffed into a sack by those 3 people. I'm so dirty. I'll tell you after I take a bath." After that, she grabbed a bath towel and went into the bathroom next to her. Qin Haodong had no choice but to sit there and wait. He had just drunk a lot of wine and felt thirsty at this time. He grabbed the glass and drank up the mineral water in it. Li Jiumei secretly watched everything outside from the bathroom. When she saw Qin Haodong drink the water in the glass, a touch of pride appeared on the corner of her mouth. Qin Haodong sat there, took out his mobile phone and fiddled with it for a while. Hearing the sound of water coming from the bathroom, he couldn't help thinking of Li Jiumei's hot figure. The graceful curve of her chest couldn't help appearing in his mind. There seemed to be a fire in his body and he felt hotter and hotter. He picked up the water glass and took 2 more glasses of water from the water dispenser and drank it up, but the burning feeling in his body did not subside at all. Just when he felt anxious, Li Jiumei came out of the bathroom. She did not wear clothes, but wrapped a bath towel around her key parts. Maybe because her chest was too full, the bath towel was a little tight and seemed to fall off at any time. She raised her hands and tidied up the wet hair behind her head. Now her graceful figure was more vividly displayed in front of Qin Haodong. At this time, Li Jiumei was like a torch, suddenly igniting the dry firewood in Qin Haodong's body. The fire was burning bigger and bigger, and it seemed that it was going to swallow him up. His breathing became heavier and heavier, and his eyes were fixed on the sexy white skin of the woman in front of him, as well as the exaggerated curve. "Do I look good?" Li Jiumei glanced at him charmingly and put her hands on the bath towel on her chest. "Do you want me to open it and let you have a look?" Qin Haodong felt that his throat was also on fire and he couldn't even speak. Suddenly, he remembered something. When he was with Yagi Yukheim, someone had secretly done something to him in the water. This was the feeling. Could it be that there was something wrong with the glass of water that Li Jiumei had just given him? As soon as he thought of this, his brain suddenly stopped and he lost the ability to think. Then his nostrils felt hot, as if there were 2 hot streams flowing out. In front of him, Li Jiumei really untied the bath towel on her chest and showed all the graceful scenery inside in front of him. Hot air sprayed out of Qin Haodong's nostrils and his eyes were blood red. He let out a beast-like roar, violently picked up Li Jiumei and rushed to the big bed next to him. An extremely complicated look flashed across Li Jiumei's face, and then she slowly closed her eyes. Then a scene of an erotic scene played out in the room. After a long time, the clouds stopped and the rain stopped. The 2 of them slowly quieted down. The red in Qin Haodong's eyes had faded, and he slowly regained his senses. Recalling the scene just now, he couldn't help but feel speechless. Including the time when Yagi Yukheim was drugged, this was the 2nd time he had been drugged. As a man, he really didn't know whether it was good or bad to encounter such things often. He turned his head and glanced at the woman next to him. Li Jiumei, who had just been moistened by the rain and dew, looked more beautiful and charming at this time. She was already extremely sexy, but now she had a mature charm. "Big sister, what are you doing?" Qin Haodong smiled bitterly. Of course, he would not cry like a woman, but he had to figure out the cause of the matter. If a beautiful and sexy woman like Li Jiumei wanted to find a boyfriend, she could call a strong army with a wave of her hand. Why did she use this method on him? Li Jiumei smiled playfully and said, are you going to call the police and say that I molested you? Big sister, tell me quickly, what are you doing? Li Jiumei smiled again and said, I just like you. You are handsome, have a house and a car, and have a good job as a doctor, so I pushed you down. Now, I don't have to worry about food and clothing for the rest of my life. I don't have to worry about money anymore. Qin Haodong said, are you serious at all? If you don't tell me, I'm leaving. From the bottom of his heart, he was still a very traditional man. Since he had such a relationship with Li Jiumei, he felt that he should take responsibility for this woman. But before that, he first had to figure out what was going on with this woman. What was she going to do? You're really boring. I'm a little regretful. After making another joke, Li Jiumei stopped smiling and said seriously, to tell you the truth, I'm from the Hmong village in Shaanxi. I'm a descendant of the Jiuli tribe and I'm a Hmong woman. The 3 people who kidnapped me yesterday were not robbers, but my brother. The more Qin Haodong listened, the more confused he became. He asked, your brother? Why did they kidnap you? Chapter 649. Get married? Do you still need to get married? Do you have a fiancé? Then why are you doing this to me? Qin Haodong felt more and more confused and threw out a series of questions. Don't worry. It's a long story. Listen to me slowly. Li Jiumei nestled in Qin Haodong's arms, found a comfortable position, and began to talk slowly. I grew up in the Hmong village in Shaanxi. We are the descendants of the Jiuli tribe and we worship Qiyu. Qiyu is a powerful ancient figure, but for some reason, we only inherited some simple cultivation methods, and the goo and poison that the world is familiar with. There is a divine mountain behind our village, where the statue of Qiyu is enshrined. Behind the statue is the forbidden area of the Jiuli tribe. It is said that it used to be the place where Qiyu lived. As long as you can open the gate of the forbidden area, you can get the purest inheritance of the Jiuli tribe. If others heard this, they could only treat it as a story or a legend. But Qin Haodong was different. He held the Shenyuan sword in his hand and obtained the inheritance of the Yellow Emperor's cultivation method, the Shenyuan skill. Li Jiumei continued, according to the ancestral teachings of the Jiuli tribe, the only way to open the gate of the forbidden area is to let Qiyu recognize the blood of the Holy Virgin. According to this ancestral teaching, our Hmong village will choose a saintess every 20 years. On the day the saintess reaches 20 years old, we will bring the saintess to open the door of the forbidden land. Unfortunately, after so many years, there hasn't been a saintess whose blood has been recognized by the great god Qiyu. Qin Haodong said in surprise, how can we open the forbidden area with the blood of the Holy Virgin? You won't just kill him, will you? Of course not. We are kind by nature. How can we be so fierce to our own people? Li Jiumei said, there is a stone statue of a monster in front of the forbidden area. The way to open it is to take 3 drops of the Holy Virgin's blood and put it in the monster's mouth. But there is a special requirement, that is, the Holy Virgin must get rid of her virginity before the age of 20. According to the ancestral records, only the blood without Yin Qi can get the recognition of Qiyu to the greatest extent. Qin Haodong said, are you the current Holy Virgin of the Hmong village? Li Jiumei nodded. I was chosen as the Holy Virgin soon after I was born. From that moment on, I couldn't decide my own fate. Fortunately, my grandfather was the chief of the Hmong village. He was very open-minded and did not limit me to a small place like the Hmong village. He let me go to university and left Shaanxi. However, Grandpa has a condition. He wants me to find a man when I'm 20, and then open the forbidden area of the Divine Mountain. Although there have been many boys pursuing me, none of them caught my eye, until the day I saw you. She raised her head, stared into Qin Haodong's eyes and said, since the moment I saw you, I felt that you were the man I should choose. But you are so annoying. I asked you to date, but you stood me up. The day of the Forbidden Area's opening is getting closer and closer. Originally, I wanted to look for you again, but who would have thought that you would suddenly disappear again, and I haven't seen you for more than 10 days. My grandpa in the Hmong village saw that I couldn't find anyone, so he arranged a marriage for me and asked me to go back and get married. But I don't like that person at all. How could I give myself to him casually? I never agreed. The Forbidden Area will be opened in 2 days. Grandpa can't wait, so he asked my 3 brothers to take me back. Qin Haodong said with a bitter face, but isn't it a little too rash for you to choose me like this? I have a few girlfriends. There's nothing rash about it. Li Jiumei said, my fate has been decided. It's better to give myself to someone I like than to someone I don't like. I knew that you wouldn't agree so easily, so I used a little trick. I wanted to watch a movie to create the atmosphere, but my 3 rude brothers ruined it. As for your girlfriends, I don't care. There's no conflict between them and me, as long as you also like me. After figuring out the whole story, Qin Haodong said, what if I don't come back in a few days? What else can we do? I can't break my promise in front of Grandpa. Otherwise, our family will become the sinners of the whole Hmong village. If you don't come back by tomorrow night, I only have 2 choices. I can either go back and get married to that guy, or I can grab someone from the school and have sex with them. Li Jiumei said with a smile, fortunately, you have a conscience and came back in time. Qin Haodong was speechless for a while. It had nothing to do with conscience. He didn't know these things before, but since it had happened, he could only say that it was fate. If Shi Fubao and the others knew that the second campus belle had also become his woman, he didn't know if they would come to fight with him. He asked, then when are you going back? It's not me, it's us. Li Jiumei smiled slyly, according to the rules of the clan, you are now the son-in-law of our Hmong village. You must go with me. Qin Haodong didn't expect that there was such a rule. He said, well. Since you've solved it here, there's no need for me to go again, right? How can you do that? You must go, or the clan won't believe me. What if they force me to marry that guy again? Wouldn't you be wearing a green hat by then? Qin Haodong was completely conquered by this woman's unrestrained thinking. No matter what, Li Jiumei was now his woman, so it was not a big deal to go with her. Well, I'll go with you, but it can't be too long. No problem. We'll come back as long as the opening ceremony is completed. Li Jiumei cried excitedly, you're so nice. You deserve to be the man I chose. Looking at the graceful body in front of him, Qin Haodong felt like he was dreaming. He had another woman in a daze. Li Jiumei held his arm and said coquettishly, but you were so rude just now. You didn't care whether it was my first time or not. Can you blame me for that? You gave me too much medicine. I'm afraid that your constitution is too good. You're a doctor, so the medicine won't work if it's too little. I only have one chance. Li Jiumei said, I don't care. Anyway, you have to compensate me. Qin Haodong said, how can I compensate you? Li Jiumei said charmingly, 3 more gentle times to make up for your rudeness just now. Before Qin Haodong could say anything, he was already pressed under her, and then the first compensation began. In the following night, he finally realized what it meant to be affectionate. Although it was Li Jiumei's first time, she was still as enthusiastic as fire. He could not remember how many times he had compensated her. It was not until dawn that he finally stopped. He first went to the bathroom to take a cold shower, and then covered Li Jiumei's charming body with the quilt. This woman seemed to be magical. As long as he saw her body, he could not stop. When are we leaving? Qin Haodong asked. After a night of torment, Li Jiumei was also very tired. She said lazily, we'll leave in a while. We have to rush back to our Hmong village before tonight. Tomorrow night, we will go to the mountain to pay our respects. Qin Haodong said, can I take 2 people with me? He felt a little embarrassed to leave as soon as he came back from Hong Kong, so he wanted to take Nailan Wushuang and Feng Wu with him. As if seeing through his mind, Li Jumei said, "You don't want to take that flat-chested woman with you, do you?" How do you know?" While Qin Haodong was shocked, he also cursed in his heart. Feng Wu's figure was perfect and she was not flat-chested at all. How would she feel if she knew that she was called a flat-chested woman? However, compared with Li Jumei's amazing curvature, Feng Wu was indeed a little slender. However, each of them had their own characteristics. If Feng Wu was really matched with Li Jumei's big breasts, not only would her figure become abnormal, but her temperament would also not match. Only this little witch, who was known as the sexy campus belle, could match such a devilish figure. Li Jumei said, "You 2 hooked up at the exchange meeting. Don't think that I can't see it. After you disappeared, she disappeared. I don't believe that you 2 didn't elope." What are you talking about? She's just a dry bean sprout. I really don't know what you like about her. Li Jumei waved her hand and said, "Everyone has their own preferences. I don't care if you like that flat-chested woman. But you can't take her with you this time. You are the man I chose. How can you take a woman back? How can I explain it to my grandparents?" Well, Qin Haodong thought about it and agreed, "Well, I'll go with you alone, but I have to call home first." Li Jumei said, "Go ahead, but you'd better not tell the flat-chested woman that you are going with me. Otherwise, she may be jealous and go to the Hmong village with you." From her words, Qin Haodong felt that her relationship with Feng Wu did not seem to be very harmonious. After hesitating for a while, he did not tell Feng Wu that he was with Li Jumei, nor did he say that they were going to the Hmong village. He just said that he was going with a friend to treat her family. After listening to him on the phone, Li Jumei curled her lips and said, "You men's words really can't be trusted. Ugh. It's all because of you that I lied. Now you actually dare to laugh at me." Qin Haodong pulled the quilt away and raised his hand to slap Li Jumei's butt. There was a loud and crisp sound, but Li Jumei did not care at all. She glanced at Qin Haodong and said, "Handsome boy, I was wrong. How about I compensate you?" Qin Haodong quickly covered her body with the quilt. If they continued to toss and turn like this, he was afraid that both of them would become soft-footed shrimps later. How could they go back to the Hmong village? Chapter 650. An hour later, the 2 of them went downstairs with their luggage and rushed to the airport. Li Jumei didn't feel much in bed, but when she went downstairs, she still felt the price of last night's madness. There was a burst of pain, and at the same time, she felt a little uncomfortable walking. As a doctor, Qin Haodong knew what was going on. He reached out and put his hand on her lower abdomen. Under the operation of the greenwood genuine qi, Li Jumei's strange feeling and pain immediately disappeared. After feeling the comfort of her body, Li Jumei winked at him and said with a charming smile, "It seems that it's good to find a doctor as a boyfriend. I'll reward you in the evening." Again. You really forget the pain when the scar is healed. You'd better take a good rest these days. Okay, I'll listen to you. I'll squeeze you dry in a few days. When the 2 of them went downstairs, they found that 3 big men were already waiting there. They were Li Jumei's 3 brothers. Since she had decided to go back, there was no need to hide from these people, so Li Jumei specially called them to come over and prepared to return to the Hmong village together. "Let me introduce you. This is my eldest brother, Li Jiugao. This is my second brother, Li Jiufu. This is my third brother, Li Jushui." After introducing the 3 big men, Li Jumei pulled Qin Haodong and said, "This is my man, Qin Haodong." Li Jumei did not say anything about her boyfriend. She directly said that this was her man. The implication was that the 2 of them had made a good relationship. After listening to her introduction, Qin Haodong burst out laughing. It turned out that the three big men in front of him were tall, rich and handsome brothers. It seemed that their father was also a wonderful person. He actually gave the three bear-like guys such lofty names. The three brothers glanced at Qin Haodong. The third brother, Li Zhishui, said, "Little sister, your taste is getting worse and worse. You actually found such a bean sprout. His physique is too poor. Be careful not to break your waist." Qin Haodong was speechless. It turned out that the three brothers were not only ugly, but also not very smart. How could they talk to their sister like this? As soon as he finished speaking, the second son, Li Jiufu, shouted, "Yes, yes. How can this little bean sprout compare to the big bear that Grandpa chose for you? The big bear's arm is thicker than his waist. One punch from him can smash his head into his neck." The eldest brother, Li Jiugao, was the burly man who carried the sack last night. He glared at his two brothers and shouted, "What are you talking about? Even if it's a bean sprout, it's a bean sprout that my sister loves to eat. Although her body is a little weak, she can cook at home and take care of the kids in the future. Sister, your two brothers are right. This bean sprout is really bad. I won't admit that he is my brother-in-law. Bringing him to the Hmong village will be a disgrace to our Jiuli tribe. All of you, shut up." Although Li Jiumei liked to joke, she would never allow others to belittle her man, not even her own brother. She looked at the three brothers and said, "Don't forget that you were sent flying by my man last night. When I go back, I will tell my grandfather, and then I will give you a good training, so that you will not be so useless. If it is known, you will lose face for our Jiuli tribe." Ah! Just now, the three brothers were so busy laughing at Qin Haodong that they forgot to look at his appearance carefully. At this time, they found that the bean sprout in front of them was the master who had kicked them away last night. Thinking of how terrible their grandfather was, the three brothers immediately changed their expressions. They immediately surrounded Qin Haodong with a smile. Li Jiugao said first, "Brother-in-law, we were just joking with you. Since the first time we saw you, we have recognized you as our brother-in-law." Li Jiufu also said, "Yes, yes, we were all teasing you. Otherwise, how could we be kicked away by you?" Li Zhishui said, "That's right. We are all family, so we don't care about it. Otherwise, how could we, the brave and invincible three brothers, lose to you?" Faced with the three brothers who suddenly changed their expressions, Qin Haodong really didn't know what to say. Li Jiumei said, "Well, let's go quickly. If we stay a little longer, we won't be able to take the plane." After that, she threw all the luggage in her hand to the three brothers and then took 2 taxis to the airport. People like the tall, rich, and handsome three brothers would attract attention wherever they went. Many people turned their heads along the way. These three people had never been on a plane. When they arrived at the airport, they looked here and there. Everything was full of novelty. After getting on the plane, fortunately, Qin Haodong bought first-class seats, so the three of them could barely sit down. It took about 4 hours to fly from Shanghai to Hmong village in Shaanxi. About 2 hours later, the stewardess on the plane began to prepare meals for everyone. "Gentlemen, there is a special discount on this flight. The meals are free and unlimited. I wish you a happy meal." After a tall stewardess finished speaking, she began to give each of them meals. But before she finished distributing the first-class meals, she heard someone shouting behind her, "Little girl, I've finished my meal. Give me another one. I've also finished my meal. One is not enough. Give me 3 more, I don't want 3, I want 5, the 3 people who shouted were the 3 brothers. Li Jiumei quickly reached out to cover her face, for fear that others would know that she knew these 3 foodies. Qin Haodong also turned his face out of the window and looked at the leisurely white clouds outside. The stewardess was stunned. Generally speaking, people who could sit in the first class were successful people who were tired of eating delicacies. Generally, they could not finish a meal and rarely asked for a second one. The so-called unlimited free meal was just a gimmick. No one would eat endlessly on the plane, but today she met it. She had been a stewardess for so many years, but she had never seen such a big appetite of passengers. "Hurry up, we're all hungry." Seeing that the stewardess did not respond, the three brothers shouted again. "Okay, I'm coming." The stewardess took out 9 more meals and gave 3 to each of them. "Gentlemen, please enjoy your meal. How can I eat slowly? There's so little food. What if it's gone?" "That's right. Such delicious food can only be eaten quickly." In the stunned eyes of the stewardess, the tall, rich, and handsome 3 brothers ate up the 3 in-flight meals in front of them in the blink of an eye with the momentum of sweeping away the clouds. "Little girl, give me 5 more. Your appetite is too small. It's not even enough to fill my teeth. It tastes good. Give me 6 more. You don't have to choose the taste, as long as it's edible. I'm finally half full. I haven't eaten in the morning." For a time, the 3 brothers became the scenery of the first-class cabin. The remaining passengers also found them interesting and gave up their in-flight meals. But even so, the 3 brothers' appetite was far from enough. Soon, they ate up all the meals in the stewardess's hands. "Is there anything else to eat? We haven't eaten enough yet." "Hurry up, didn't you say that there's no limit? How can it be finished after eating so little? If you give me 10 more, I'll be almost full." The stewardess was shocked at first, and then she almost burst into tears. She took out a dumpling and sent it to the 3 brothers. "Good dumplings. They taste good. I like the pork and green onion stuffing." After the 3 brothers finished eating, they cried out excitedly. Li Jiugao said to the stewardess discontentedly, "Why didn't you take out such delicious dumplings earlier? Are you hiding something delicious? Take it out for us to eat." The stewardess said with tears in her eyes, "I'm sorry, gentlemen. There's really no more. These are the dumplings my mother made for me. There's really nothing to eat on the plane." Qin Haodong couldn't stand it anymore. He stopped the 3 brothers and then took out 1,000 yuan and gave it to the stewardess. He asked her to eat after getting off the plane. The stewardess looked at him gratefully. If it weren't for the sexy and enchanting Li Jiumei sitting next to her, she would have given herself to him. An hour later, the plane landed at the Xiangdu City Airport in Xiangxi. The 3 of them left the airport and changed to a bus. Then they took a tractor for 2 hours. Near evening, they finally entered the territory of the Hmong village in Xiangxi. Even so, if it was an ordinary person, they would have to walk for half a day. However, they were all martial artists, so they walked much faster than ordinary people. They could arrive in about an hour. The Hmong village in Xiangxi was said to be the last pure land left by the devil Qiyu. The Miao people living here were all believers of Qiyu. Although this place was remote and inconvenient, the scenery was extremely beautiful. As the sun set in the west, the golden rays of the setting sun illuminated the enchanting scenery even more brilliantly. Qin Haodong enjoyed the surrounding scenery as he hurried along. The 3 brothers carried the luggage behind him, which was really a good feeling. In the golden sunlight, Li Jiumei was like a rose stained with golden light, looking more charming and moving. Qin Haodong looked back at the 3 brothers who were like monsters, and then looked at the woman beside him. He couldn't help but ask, "Are you sure you are siblings with them?" Li Jiumei glared at him and said, "What do you mean?" "I mean, isn't there a green hat on your father's head? Or should I say, 3 green hats?" "Nonsense." Li Jiumei pinched his waist hard and said, "That's impossible. Although we Miao women are affectionate, we are extremely infatuated. We only love one man in our life. It's impossible for us to have one-night stands like you city people, and we're not as fickle as you." Qin Haodong said embarrassedly, "I don't mean anything else. I just think that the appearance of you brother and sister is too different." Li Jiumei said, "What's so strange about that? I'm more beautiful after my mother, and the three of them are more rugged and strong after my father. Qin Haodong suddenly, he said, have you ever thought about what would happen if you followed your father? After that, he couldn't help imagining the appearance of the three brothers as a woman. He couldn't help but shiver. It was too scary. Li Jumei said fiercely, what else can I look like? I'll still push you down. Chapter 651. They walked very fast. Just as the sun was about to set, they could already see the smoke of the Hmong village in the distance. Seeing that she had returned to the place where she grew up, Li Jumei said excitedly, we're finally home. Qin Haodong said, is there any special custom in your village? Li Jumei said, what do you mean? Qin Haodong said with a smile, for example, a younger sister as a dowry. You're dreaming. Li Jumei glared at him and said, even if there is such a custom, I don't have a younger sister. I have 3. Do you want them? The 3 brothers vaguely heard Li Jumei mention them and immediately said in unison, sister, if you have any problems, just leave it to us. We can handle it. Qin Haodong quickly turned around and said, it's okay, it's okay. Li Jumei said with a smile, don't think too much. When we arrive at our village, many people will come to challenge you. Challenge me? Why? Am I not a guest? Li Jumei said, because you married the most beautiful woman in our village. Of course, other men are not convinced. According to the rules of our village, they can challenge you. Qin Haodong said, what if I lose? Can they take you away? Didn't you say that the women of the Miao family will only marry one man in their life? Of course I won't snatch it away, but I can't avoid beating you up to vent my anger. Qin Haodong said with a smile, oh. Can I break off the engagement? Li Jumei turned her head and looked at him and said, in our village, there is no breaking off the engagement, only widowhood. Forget it. Aren't they just a few challengers? I can handle it. Qin Haodong was talking and laughing when his expression suddenly changed. He raised his hand and pulled Li Jumei behind him. What are you doing? Li Jumei was shocked by his sudden reaction. At this moment, a hoarse voice sounded beside her, there's no need to challenge them. You must die now. Another voice shouted, little girl, it seems that you are destined to be a widow in this life. As they spoke, 4 figures rushed out of the dense forest around them and blocked their path. They were none other than the 4 great heavenly kings of the evil cult who were defeated on Divine Dragon Island. Seeing that it was these people, Qin Haodong said, it's you. You survived last time. How dare you come again? Heavenly King Azure Dragon said angrily, brat, do you think I'll let you off just like that after injuring 2 of our demon sect's great elders? There's no such thing as that. You must die today. He gnashed his teeth in hatred. The last time he was struck by the divine thunder of the 9th heaven, although he did not suffer any internal injuries, his face was still black, and the muscles on his face twitched from time to time as he spoke. As the 4 heavenly kings of the demon sect, when had they ever suffered such humiliation? Therefore, after settling down the seriously injured 1,000-armed man and 100-face evil king, the 4 brothers immediately came to take revenge. White Tiger Heavenly King also shouted, Qin brat, this time we launched a surprise attack. We didn't give you a chance to set up the formation in advance. Let's see how you can fight against us 4 brothers. In the eyes of the 4 heavenly kings, the reason why the young man in front of them was able to defeat 4 level 9 supreme power masters was because of the divine thunder of the 9th heaven. It was not because of his personal strength at all. Because of this, they launched a surprise attack and did not give Qin Haodong a chance to set up the formation. In this way, they would win. While he was speaking proudly, suddenly there was a flash in front of him and Qin Haodong's figure disappeared. Then a golden light pierced his throat. This, White Tiger Heavenly King's eyes were full of fear. How could he die before he finished showing off? Qin Haodong's speed was too fast. How did he do it? As a cultivator, Qin Haodong was invincible in the case of the same level. If he faced a level 9 Supreme Power Master, he was 100% sure that he could win. He could even fight against 2. But now he was facing 4 level 9 Supreme Power Masters at the same time. Once they attacked at the same time or set up a joint attack formation, he had no chance of winning at all. Therefore, Qin Haodong took advantage of the opportunity when White Tiger Heavenly King was showing off to make a preemptive strike. He used the stealing divine legs to the extreme and the Xian Yuan sword pierced his throat. It was a pity that a level 9 Supreme Power Master did not even have the long sword on his back. He was cut down by the sword before he could even pull it out. The stealing divine legs was too fast. After killing White Tiger Heavenly King, Azure Dragon Heavenly King did not have time to react. The Xian Yuan sword drew a stream of light again and chopped at his head. Only then did Azure Dragon Heavenly King realize what had happened. The young man in front of him was not only good at formations, but his skills had also reached a shocking level. In a panic, he quickly raised the long saber in his hand to meet Qin Haodong's attack. But how could his long saber compete with the Xianyuan sword? With a cracking sound, Qin Haodong cut his long saber in half. Then, he chopped the Azure Dragon King in half. In front of the enemy, he did not hesitate at all. After killing 2 level 9 Supreme Power Masters in succession, Vermilion Bird Heavenly King and Black Tortoise Heavenly King finally reacted. The 2 of them roared and waved the long sabers in their hands to attack. After killing 2 opponents unexpectedly, Qin Haodong breathed a sigh of relief. The remaining 2 people were much easier to deal with. The 3 of them fought together, and soon Qin Haodong completely gained the upper hand. With the advantage of his cultivation and the sharpness of the Xian Yuan sword, he suppressed the 2 of them tightly. The more the Vermilion Bird Heavenly King and the Black Tortoise Heavenly King fought, the more frightened they became. They did not expect that this young man's cultivation would be so powerful. If they had known this, they would not have come out to show off. They might have had a chance to win if they had directly surrounded them or launched a surprise attack. At least they would not have suffered such heavy casualties like now. However, it was useless to regret now. They could only try their best to find a way to save the situation. They looked at each other. The 2 of them had worked together for many years and had a good tacit understanding. Vermilion Bird Heavenly King raised his cultivation to the extreme and attacked Qin Haodong with the long saber in his hand like a storm. Black Tortoise Heavenly King suddenly left the battle circle and rushed to Li Jiumei next to him. They had already figured it out. If they did not capture this woman as a hostage, not to mention defeating Qin Haodong, they would even lose their lives. Capturing this woman was the only hope for them to survive. The brother and sister of the Li family were watching the battle. As warriors at the covert power level, they were shocked by the cultivation of these people in front of them. This kind of cultivation was simply like a god's. Masters at the level 9 of Supreme Power realm only existed in legends. They had not even had the chance to meet them before, so they did not know what the cultivation of these people in front of them was. They only knew that they were much more powerful than them. Seeing that Black Tortoise Heavenly King was rushing over, the 3 brothers rushed up with a roar and protected Li Jiumei in front of her. However, Black Tortoise Heavenly King did not care about their cultivation. He gently waved his hand and the fierce palm wind sent the 3 brothers flying more than 10 meters away, breaking countless trees. Li Jiumei had already seen through this guy's mind. She did not want to be a burden to Qin Haodong, so she turned around and wanted to run away. But the powerful momentum emitted by the 9th level Supreme Power Master was so terrible that she could not move even if she wanted to. Seeing that the big hand covered with black hair was getting closer and closer and was about to grab her neck, suddenly a golden light flashed and the Xian Yuan sword directly penetrated the back of Black Tortoise Heavenly King's head. Poor Black Tortoise Heavenly King, he died with a grievance. He had thought that the Xian Yuan sword was a magic weapon, but he did not know that it was a flying sword. Qin Haodong took back the Xian Yuan sword and looked at the vermilion bird Heavenly King in front of him sarcastically. If the remaining two people worked together, it would be really difficult to kill them. It was a pity that Black Tortoise Heavenly King thought he was clever and divided the strength of the two people. In the end, he died. There was a flash of panic in the vermilion bird Heavenly King's eyes. He knew that he was no match for this young man in any case. He no longer had the courage to fight, so he turned around and ran away. His body movement was very fast, but unfortunately, no matter how fast he could not be faster than stealing divine legs. In a few breaths, Qin Haodong came behind him and the Xian Yuan sword penetrated his chest. Putting away the Xian Yuan sword, he glanced at the four bodies on the ground and felt lucky in his heart. These four guys still like to show off too much. They did not learn their lesson after being struck by lightning. If they had killed him or directly taken Li Jiumei as a hostage, it would have been a big problem. Brother-in-law, you are really amazing, brother-in-law, you are even more powerful than us three brothers. Why don't we accept you as our master? Yes, we brothers have to suffer a little. How about we accept you as our master and teach us martial arts? Although the three brothers were not very smart, they also saw Qin Haodong's power. Just now, they were beaten like dogs by Black Tortoise Heavenly King, and Black Tortoise Heavenly King was beaten like a dog by Qin Haodong. This meant that there was a gap between them and Black Tortoise Heavenly King. Qin Haodong did not dare to accept the three brothers as his disciples. Otherwise, he would be driven to death by them sooner or later. Brothers, you are so wise and powerful. I dare not be your teacher. The three brothers still wanted to say something, but they were pushed aside by Li Jiumei. She said to Qin Haodong, "Who are these four people just now? Why did they attack you?" "Nothing, they are old enemies." Qin Haodong did not want her to get too involved, so he did not say much. Li Jiumei was smart and did not ask any more questions. The three brothers threw the bodies of several people at the bottom of the cliff and then continued in the direction of the Hmong village. After this battle, it was already dark when they returned to the Hmong village. At night in the Hmong village of Xiangxi, there were big red lanterns hanging at the door of every household, which looked very festive. "Is there any happy event?" Qin Haodong asked in surprise. "Tomorrow is the day we open the Forbidden Area, which is the biggest happy event in our Hmong village. Generally, the day before the Forbidden Area is opened is the wedding day of the Holy Virgin, so it is naturally the most lively day in the Hmong village." While talking, they walked into the Hmong village. But what was strange was that the red lanterns were hanging, but the stone-paved street was extremely quiet. They did not see anyone along the way. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.